Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by one who parks on Discord.
This is Jeremy, and I'm still playing Immortal Hulk.
Oh boy.
On Discord?
This is...
Good.
This is Aaron, I go by Treffinwood.
Jeez, Aaron. Jeez, Parker. There's 4 people on the podcast. Maybe you should let everyone introduce themselves before you interrupt them.
I should.
Damn it.
Parker, good news though. I'm not going to penalize you today. You're down to 1,910 probationary episodes.
Jesus, what happened?
I mean, he went down 1.
Nice.
That's what happened.
I'm
Alrighty.
working hard.
Nice. A couple announcements. We have obviously got Shatterpoint coming out this weekend. So anyone who's interested in Shatterpoint, go to your local game store, check that out. If you want to see a battle report, we've got a battle report on our YouTube channel. You can go check out a playthrough that a friend of the show, Brandon, did. Not me, somebody else, just for clarity.
To be purposely
Yes.
confusing. Yeah.
How many
exactly.
There's like 7 Brandons.
Yeah, not Brandon from Springfield or Brandon from Kansas City. Brandon from Shawnee is different. This is another Brandon. All right, anyway. That's all I have.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I've heard through the grapevine, Brandon I'm talking to you right now, you are not ready for Shatterpoint and you're excited for it to go far away from you. Is that true?
Well, I mean, it takes place in a galaxy far, far away. I don't know if you heard that.
Right, but I mean, it could also take place in your game store and stuff, and you are not.
Why are you calling me out as being a Star Wars not supporter? People already yell at me enough about Star Wars.
Okay. I heard it was a rumor. I'm not trying to call you out, and I'm glad to hear the rumor is unfounded, and you are just fine with it happening around you. I'm happy.
Why are you doing this? Why are you making this a thing?
I'm not trying to make. There's no thing here. I'm actually asking you a question, and because I don't know what I would think of Shatterpoint.
People used to ask if I was a Star Wars fan. I would say yes. And then I would talk to that person for about 10 seconds. They go, "You're not a Star Wars fan." I'm like, "What is happening?" I like the movies. Why are you mad at me? They're like, "You're not a real fan."
Yeah.
It's like I didn't read 80 books that didn't make any sense, so I'm bad. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, it is weird. Fandom for Star Wars can be. It's not toxic. It's almost like exclusive, real fast.
Is both exclusively toxic?
Yeah, there you go. Exclusively toxic. I like that. Good adverb.
Did you name your child after Darth Vader, yes or no?
Don't have kids.
What?
Although
you fucking failed right
this?
there. Just get the
when
fuck
I
out.
was in college,
GTFO.
I had decided when I was in college that if I had a son, I would name him Luke. I've since changed my mind. However, at one time it was going to be Luke. Does that make you feel better?
Yeah.
No. Luke is a normal name. Can be from anything. So my firstborn's name was supposed to be Lord Vader.
Yeah. How'd that go?
I had to compromise. I got half of it.
Mm-hmm.
So because I compromised on the firstborn, the secondborn was named after Darth Vader.
Okay.
So
do I get bonus points if Luke was specifically in reference to Luke Skywalker? Does that count?
Like maybe 1 out of 10.
1/10 of a point. All right.
Yes.
Wow. This is some of this exclusively toxic
I
attitude.
know, right? Like
here.
this is exactly what I'm
This is
talking about.
exactly. That's perfectly describes what that means.
And then you go and tell them that Empire Strikes Back is not even the best Star Wars movie, let alone the best movie, and then they just lose their fucking minds.
Yikes.
Look at Jeremy's head just did that dog turn, like, huh?
He's trying to figure out which one it is. He's old. He's trying to.
I'm trying to figure out like how many demerits all y'all are getting. Like everyone's getting demerits on this episode.
It was originally one movie, and it changed to a different movie.
Nice.
So,
cool.
50
Aaron, episodes. Brandon, let's go. Next.
Aaron, you purposely put a lightsaber on an MCP model so that you could have more Star Wars in the games you like. So, are you excited to do Shatterpoint? Is this something you're going to dabble in? Are you ready for it?
Aaron's definitely getting into Shatterpoint. Aaron is such a Star Wars fan. He's going to exclusively play Shatterpoint now.
He's told me not one thing about this. That's why I'm excited. I'm excited to know.
I do not intend on purchasing Shatterpoint on release.
Okay.
I played 6 games, which is granted still a small sample size. My off-the-cuff analysis is Shatterpoint is both more fun and more random than Marvel.
You have to give away your Star Wars fandom card now.
Okay. So I'm a little disappointed because I really wanted to like this game and buy into it and have a new painting hobby and just, I mean, my daughter is named after Star Wars. I have a tattoo. I have MCP models. Like, I'm not like super hardcore, but I appreciate the genre. How about that?
What word can you turn your tattoo of Shatterpoint into? The tattoo of Shatterpoint. Can it be a different word now that you've tattooed that on yourself?
Shatterpointer.
Yes.
Shatterwinter. True. Okay.
Anyway, I couldn't get past the RNG. The mission objective RNG aspect of the game was just game breaking for me.
I will say that just so people are certain that we're not shitting on Shatterpoint. I think there are people, and I know some, that are going to absolutely fucking love Shatterpoint, and I think rightfully so. I think it's heavily based in a theme of game design that some people really, really like. And so I think anyone who likes that style of game design is really going to like this game.
I've not got to play it yet. I wanted to know how the models work, so if I saw a model up on Atomic Mass Games, I could have an idea of how that model is different than another model. That was important to me. So
like as a modeling aspect, or like you mean in mechanics?
Mechanics, the cards. Because I was like, these cards are popping up, and I love some of these characters from the universe, but I can't tell the difference between one card and another. What are these symbols?
Yeah, I'll show you tomorrow if you actually come to the store, even though you don't have a job.
No, I'm going to. Okay. I have the gist of the cards. What I was about to say is one thing that I find fascinating that I've never seen in a game that I've personally played before is that every time you roll dice, like you make a decision about what your dice are going to do with that roll you have compared to your opponents. I think it's a very interesting thing. I've never seen a game do that before, where you have something that variable every time you roll dice. Also, just an interesting choice.
I agree. It's a great aspect of the game.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, they have several mechanics in Shatterpoint that I really wish they would move over to MCP because they're really good. Anyway, though, off the Shatterpoint topic, now that I've successfully dodged Parker's question, and
good job.
What's next, Parker?
News.
Hey, news.
Okay, I am really excited about this news today. It's been a while since a character's been added to the game that I'm really pumped about, but we know what M'Baku is doing, and I really like it. Here is M'Baku. He is a 4-point character. He has size 3, medium movement, 7 health on the front side, and 6 on the back. Otherwise, he is identical. His defensive stats are 4 physical, 2 energy, 4 mystic. His first attack is called Nabkiri. It's range 3 with 5 dice. It does give him all the power. He deals in damage. Wild Pursuit, which is advanced short, and Crit Push, which just pushes him away. Both of those things are before damage is dealt. Curious. His spender is called Wrath of the Jabari. It's range 2, 8 dice for 4 power. If the target character is size 4 or less, you throw a medium, so a long throw off his spender. And on a wild hit at the same time, you get to advance M'Baku short and make a Nabkiri attack targeting it must be different enemy character. So he gets some action economy if he gets the wild and hit, and an advance out of it. 2 action economies there.
You want to talk about attacks?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack in his attacks, actually.
His spender is very good.
His spender is good. It joins the elite crew of OG Sabretooth, where your spender automatically, without having to roll... not automatically. With 2 dice that are common-ish on 8 dice, you can... What is the chances of a hit and a wild? Can you roll the beautiful bean footage, Aaron? Could you find out what that is?
Very high. It's probably like 65, 80%.
You get to do...
Might even be higher than that.
But it's in some ways better than Sabretooth because you get to advance for the different character. But Sabretooth also gets to lay into the same character potentially and gets to reroll completely the basic. So good and bad. But
I mean, are we also...
Why are you comparing it to Sabretooth?
Because you get to do a builder off of a spender, which is something Sabretooth gets to do.
They're both wild plus hit as well.
Yep.
But Sabretooth doesn't have to target a different character, and his builder attack gets full rerolls. However, he doesn't get to move after it. So
and throw someone if he does damage, of course.
Well, that's separate, but yes.
One of the things about all spinders in the game is if you're not careful, your spinner can leave you in a really terrible position, right? You always have to be kind of mindful of how your spinner is losing you on your power curve. The fact anybody who says on this spinner get to do a builder becomes really power efficient.
64%.
64.
So is that without dice mods, Aaron?
Yep.
So what are the odds that you just rolled the wild?
With what?
Just 8 dice to a wild.
8 dice,
just 77.
Okay.
With that, and that interacts with his leadership. You want to talk about that? We should talk about that real fast.
Yep. Okay. I think we're ready to move on. I mean, I know the attacks are good and important, but I think they're pretty simple.
So his new Wakanda affiliation leadership, blessed by Gekker, and I actually looked it up. It is Gekker. Once per turn, when an allied character is contesting an objective token and would be pushed or placed by any enemy effect, you roll a dice on a crit, wild, or hit. You're not pushed or placed. How close is that to Winter Guard? I didn't look.
Very.
I can't tell. I kind of want to find out.
I want to say it's wild and block for Winter Guard. Like it's just straight better.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Second. Go ahead.
Real quick, while we're talking Winter Guard, Winter Guard is on a secure objective only. This is contesting any objective,
including a chimichanga.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Or a dozier.
A dozier.
Second bit. Additionally, once per turn, when an allied character makes an attack, if there's one or more wild results in the roll, he can change one die result to a hit. So this is half of MODOK 2's leadership and better than Winter Guard's leadership.
Jesus.
Point of order. You don't have to be contesting for the second part.
Right. So in a way.
Which is arguably better than MODOK's, but
right.
So, quick point of order. I gave you the wrong number, saying 77% for a wild. That was with rerolls, 2 of them. So, without rerolls, just on 8 dice, it's 70% to roll a wild.
Okay.
Continue.
So, the reason why we mentioned that is, of course, blessed by Gekker, if you do roll just a wild, you could turn one of your other dice into a hit to make sure that avalanche happens on his spinner.
Yeah.
So if he's rolling his own leadership, his spinner becomes more likely to get the full Megillah.
It is only once per turn on the dice mod part, but triggering effects is obviously really strong, which is, at first you start looking at his attacks, you're like, man, why does he have such weird triggers on dice? It's wilds and crits, and you're like, oh, because he can get hits really easily.
Right. The rest of his powers are Strength of the White Gorilla. For 2 costs, he can throw interactive terrain size 3 or less, medium. They have to be within 2 of him to do that. Passive, Chieftain of the Jabari. It's a slightly, I think this is, I don't know who else has this. This character cannot be pushed or advanced by the special effects of physical or energy attacks from characters of size 3 or less. It's very specific, like asterisks after all of those things. But it's one of the first characters we've seen with this specific ability. And then Solid Frame, which we've seen from Kingpin. The character does not suffer damage from collisions with other characters. He's immune to stun, which is a very debilitating ability that he is immune to.
Okay. Parker, I think you wanted to talk about this guy.
I was super excited. I feel like if Wakanda has always had this great strength of playing on secures and having scenario points and being really good at that, their leadership was always the one kind of thing that kind of stuck out as, one of these things is not like the other one. They have such great models that are really good at this play style and removing a model, kind of that tactical flexibility we've talked about. And then their leadership was just spend a power to reroll a dice. It's almost always bad. It's almost always a trap. This one is everything you want Wakanda to do, I think. Just better. It's so good it almost feels like a gimme to Wakanda. Like, here, Wakanda, here's a leadership that actually works for your faction instead of just being this kind of strange thing that we weren't really sure when we printed Black Panther way back when. It feels very much like a catch-up mechanic for the Wakanda leadership specifically. On top of that, he is definitely a 4-cost character. I think he could do a lot of work all by himself.
I've never felt that the Wakanda leadership was that lacking, and if you're looking for something to replace the lacking leadership, I don't feel like this leadership is particularly exceptional. I think it's good. I'm never a fan of the when you're contesting, roll a die, win something like that's like the Winter Guard leadership is so fucking weird.
So I agree with you. The key here is he triggers on place. Mm-hmm. So Thanos spends 2 to portal you, and you're like, nope, go fuck off. Yeah. Try it on someone else.
Or, you fail the 3 in 8 chance and get placed.
Right. But if you're Thanos, you're like, shit, do I spend the 2 power? Mm-hmm. I think that's interesting. I think the place negation, which has typically really not been seen very much in the game at all, is super interesting. Like, you can always stop people from being pushed or advanced, but you cannot stop throws and you can't stop places for the most part, right? Until now. So I don't know if that's good, but I found it to be super interesting.
I mean, I don't think it's an actively bad leadership. I just think it's not good. Let's see. So Crimson is the one that has the Winter Guard leadership, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's the same role, but it's only on pushed. But they can also remove a negative effect. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say his leadership is better than that, but we were going with arguably the worst leadership in the game before Claw?
I think it depends. I think the ability to negate a status condition is super good.
It is good. Is it better than Cyclops good?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you leverage it, right? You play some big boys like, go ahead and, stagger my Hulk. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like half of Asgard's leadership, but for free. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do think that is a decent leadership to have.
I think Solid Frame is good as well. He's a size 3 model, so like him, he still does damage to other people, but he doesn't take the collision for colliding with them, and so it loses some value if they start throwing him into your own people.
Yeah, that passive seems really niche unless you've ever played Kingpin. You're like, oh my god, it's so hard to remove him because I can't throw him into. Yeah, it's really truly annoying. The fact that he can't be pushed.
I don't know why they thought they needed to give him a weakness energy like that, though. That's kind of silly.
He's not wearing a shirt.
Whatever. We'll just give him a 2. Okay. Sure.
I think the weakness.
They don't get the vibranium up in the mountains.
I guess.
I think the weakness to energy is it's fine. I mean, we also forget like this guy. We haven't got to his tactics cards, but there's vibranium armor in the faction, and like that, like you're giving him DR on top of all of his defensive stuff. He could be really hard to remove if you really don't want him to be.
A fun anecdote: you can actually finally play Wakanda at 20 points, fully affiliated.
Mm-hmm. I think his builder and his spender are both really strong. I like the mobility in the builder. Potentially, I know it's on a while, which is not hard, not great to count on, but it is there, and there's mobility in his spender. He looks static at first, but if you start rolling wilds, not only is he going to turn, get you more hits, but he's also going to start moving around when you weren't expecting him to.
I think the advance on his builder is absolutely huge.
Mm-hmm.
He has no mobility outside of that, basically, or outside of attacking, and so having a range 3 attack that potentially lets him move is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of what I was talking about. Like, this is why the people like Logan that have range 3 auto place attacks, it's like, that is such a powerful effect in a game. I don't understand why nobody seems to care about it. I think this is obviously a far more toned down version, but even just getting to advance short towards the person you attacked is sometimes incredibly useful.
Also, anybody that you were excited to play with MODOK offensively, anybody who has the wild and hit procs, then also now all of a sudden have a reason to go in Wakanda. That's one of the things about Wakanda one of the reasons I like this leadership also is in Wakanda I often felt like, okay, I play some of the Wakanda guys that I like, most of them I like, so I'm going to play them all, and then I guess I'm going to put some other affiliation in here, I guess, because I still have so many spots open. But there's actually now models that I'd like to see get benefits out of this leadership. The same ones I was excited about playing with MODOK, only now I get to play in Wakanda.
Yeah. I mean, except if they were like, criminal affiliated, which is why it worked.
Right, but I was thinking specifically of things like Corvus, Corvus Glaive has now his flurry goes off a little bit better on his spender a little bit more often. You don't have to cross your fingers so hard, and the ability to remove a model like that is fantastic. They also, of course, have models that remove models too, like putting Corvus and M'Baku and I can think of his actual name, but I can't. Killmonger. Put down on the same field at the same time. That's a lot of I'm going to kill your thing.
Just for the record, Corvus flurries on a block, not a hit.
Oh, it's a block. Who was I thinking flurries on a hit? That's Medusa, and I thought it was Corvus. I thought there was somebody else.
It might be. So Corvus got changed at one point. It used to, I believe, just be a wild hit. Now it's a wild block. Medusa.
Medusa is a wild hit. I thought somebody else had a flurry and a wild hit. Maybe I'm crazy.
What's Valkyrie?
Valkyrie's probably a wild hit as well.
Maybe that's what it was.
Medusa's crit wild.
Wow, I'm just way off.
And we're batting 1,000 right now.
Yeah, crit. No, it's crit. Valkyrie's crit wild also.
Crit wild as well. Oops.
So who was
all crits?
So who was a wild hit? I can't remember what my Monoc list looked like. I ditched it so fast because I didn't.
I mean, Sabretooth was wild hit for Predator. But...
That's right. Sabretooth was one of them.
Mm-hmm. Although his is better than Flurry, so
much.
Yeah, and he doesn't take a crit.
Word.
Anyway. Just point that out.
You guys want to talk about his tactics cards?
Not really, but go ahead.
Okay. First one, Jabari Chieftain, Wakanda card. During another allied Wakanda character's activation, M'Baku spends 4. He immediately advances toward the active allied character medium, and then the active allied character adds 2 dice to its attack rolls this activation. My God, is this great for a faction that's already great. Man,
boy, that got my jimmies all rustled up.
I think this faction is great. I don't think it's the best. But this is another. They already had Wakanda Forever, which was a way to go bigger on a single turn. You had Usurp the Throne to give yourself buff yourself. You give yourself buffed on a single model. Now Jabari Chieftain buffs that single model again. I mean. Killmonger kills it, right? Killmonger kills it. He's going to get 3 attacks. The last attack's going to have +6 dice, right? From Jabari Chieftain, Usurp the Throne, and his own ability.
How much does this cost?
4 on M'Baku, so not on Killmonger.
But not on the other person.
Right.
Don't you have to move within range 2 of them?
Nope. You just get to move, and then they get to add 2.
You have to move towards the active character.
So M'Baku gets a free move, and the active character gets 2. So it's out of activation movement for M'Baku, a full movement of his, and then the character who is activating gets to add 2 to all their attack rolls. So that works on, notably on Killmonger, of course, because he can mod his own dice if he starts killing things, and he gets to add a lot of extra dice for Usurp the Throne and his own ability, which gives him 2 dice on the second attack. Also, Black Panther. Because
I'm way more excited about Black Panther.
Yeah, because he gets to reroll all of his attack rolls on that turn, so he can go really big. We've talked before about let's get some attacks out there that are going to delete models. You need that tactics card, what's the one where Ricochet Blast? You need that kind of tactics card. I feel like that is this. You're going to get a lot of dice out of some really premium models. The fact that they have 2 premium models that want this means it's going to go off more often than not.
No disagreement.
Give it a trash scale, Aaron. I'm curious. What's your trash scale?
Ooh, my trash scale on this card is a 7. I think it will likely make your 10 and usually make your 5. I could see it slipping off just based on the power cost. But I agree with your assessment that there are times when you're just going to need this to win the game. I'm trying to think, 2 restricted plus Wakanda plus Jabari plus either the next one we'll talk about or a character
that's
card.
Where I was. Yeah. That's why I was worried about it. I don't see it getting played as often.
Yeah,
I don't see you're cutting out fallback, all that stuff, mission objective to try and take this. I don't know.
Oh, it's definitely not a 10, but
yeah, I feel like it's way more likely you just drop in Iron Man and play Helios if that's what you wanted.
Oh, I don't.
Iron Man also works in their strategy really well.
Not wrong, but I feel like I don't know. I think if you're combining the, maybe this is 2 tactics cards and not good enough, but I feel like Usurp the Throne plus this is good enough because I think it's getting you victory points also.
Well, that's what we're saying. Like, are you even? So you got your 2 restricteds. You've got Wakanda Forever, Usurp the Throne. That's your last card.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Usurp the Throne, you don't get to pick the target if they've got any kind of like bodyguard or anything. It fucks with it too, so you have to be careful. Obviously, it's the same with a lot of big attacks, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of it also because it's like all they have to do is take out like Killmonger, and your whole I'm going to one-shot you strategy just goes out the window because it's on range 2 attacks basically.
What?
Like, it's easier to dig out the guy that has like melee attacks than Iron Man standing in the back of your list. Is my point.
Well, we know that Killmonger doesn't have range 2 attacks. He has much bigger attacks than that. But
he's not dropping 3 on Usurp the Throne and then 2 on a charge and then 3 on a Black Ops strike. Like, he's just realistically not going to have that much power.
He should if he's getting his Usurper he's getting +4 dice on his. If you charge and do his builder, he's getting +4 dice on that.
But then you're not playing Usurp the Throne.
If you have 5 dice, if you have 5 power at the start of your turn, you could easily get enough to spend on a second attack. Okay. Now, in my opinion, the reason why I think it's good is exactly that you don't have to play Killmonger and you don't have to get Killmonger to do it. If for some reason it still fails, Black Panther could do it also, and you're perfectly satisfied with Black Panther going off on somebody with +2 dice. I think I don't like anything that's what you're describing, where I need these 2 models exactly alive at exactly the right moment. That feels like too high of an opportunity cost. But the fact that both of those models like to stand up and ruin something, or just build up a lot of power in the Killmonger's case. The fact that you have Wakanda Forever in the faction also, that if you could do a 3rd attack that turn with also the +2 dice, I feel like there's a lot. I feel like there's something there. Also, he moved. He gets to advance. It's not just a dice builder. He moves. Ready for the next card?
Yes.
Spirit of Wakanda. Wakanda active card. Any Wakanda character can spend 2 for this one. The character that played this may immediately use 1 of these effects, only 1. All other allied characters within 2 remove 2 damage. All other allied characters within 2 remove special conditions, all of them. And then all other allied characters within 2 immediately gain 2 power.
I don't like this card.
Why not?
I feel like it encourages you to stay too tight. I don't know. I've played a lot of games like against Wakanda and with Wakanda, and I don't like. In my experience, if you're doing like a power like brick like that, it's only on like 1 mission, and it's Gamma. And so, in Gamma doesn't work the way it used to when people used to do that. I just don't see this having a high ability to be played.
I'm torn on this card. I love the effects. I agree. Range 2 is almost debilitating. So I wonder if it becomes like a Demon's Gamma Researcher Specialist card, or if it never gets taken because it's too niche. Or you could use it as Medpack.
Notably, it does not say that the allies have to be Wakanda. Just the Wakanda character has to play it. Mm-hmm. So you can get some cool things out of it on characters that aren't like it'll be the rest of your list, right?
Yeah.
I feel like M'Baku does his thing, gets some special movement, and puts himself where he needs to, and then uses it.
So I think M'Baku is going to be very power starved.
Maybe.
I think so too, and usually if M'Baku's using his movement to move backwards, then he's spending a move action to get back into the fight later.
I don't think you move backwards.
Well then, so how is he... I guess I'm just picturing a different battlefield then. I don't see the other people in your list standing where M'Baku is standing.
Okay.
Except for like maybe Black Panther. Like healing 2 on Black Panther is useful, but like the rest of their people aren't on a solid enough frame for me to really value healing 2. Outside of like Vibranium shielding turns. And then sticking your whole list in like a range 2 bubble just seems debilitating. Outside of like randomly we played Gamma.
I can't really tell I'm looking at the picture of Claw and M'Baku. They're on the same base size, and I'm guessing it's going to be small. So he's not going to be bigger. So there's notably only small base models to get this off of. They got to be pretty close to each other.
I could see someone like Okoye having hopefully 4 power. She wakes up being dazed. Like she moves, gets within 2 of M'Baku and Panther, heals them both for 2, and still has 2 power bodyguard.
I was actually looking at what if you do advanced R&D on the first turn, give a second power to Shuri. Shuri plays Spirit of Wakanda. Or even she just shoots somebody at range 5, like moves up just a bit, keeps everyone within range 2, and shoots somebody at range 5 on the center line. And then immediately plays Spirit of Wakanda, and everyone gets 2 power. And so you're giving 2 power to like 4 other people on the first turn.
That was actually where my head went first. Was a 0 turn move.
That was
0 turn. The funny thing is, you could have that on the field as something dangerous that could happen, and if it doesn't happen, you might still also get to use it later. It's not.
I say just first turn, Wong hands one of them an extra power, and they immediately play it. Mm-hmm. Like, and then you just start the turn. What happens when Black Panther starts the game with 3 power? You're like, oh, so he moves long, pounces, attacks, probably gets a power off the attack, picks up an objective. You're like, shit! Like these are big turns. Like Killmonger advances, charges, picks up an objective. Like
the problem is range 2 is going to limit that. Mm-hmm. Like you could do that on a flank, sure, but you can't be on the center because a Killmonger charge or a long move pounce will not get you to the outside delta.
It won't?
No.
Yeah, probably not if they're on the outside of it.
No, it doesn't.
But you can like split the middle, like with the D, like a center line, split the difference between the closer of the two. Yeah. So just ignore one flank.
Well, yeah, what you would do is you would put the model that's going to get it there in between the two, right? And then you have the 2 recipients that you'd like to, or the 2 or 3 recipients. One's behind the center, one's behind a flank.
I'd really like to measure this tomorrow. Remind me when we're at the store.
I think you can. I think you can get most everything you would want with a little bit of deployment.
It'd really just be up to your opponent to know not to leave anybody with an attack range. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it'd be worth 2 Tactics cards to do the 3 power on the first turn.
I think it might be worth Wong. I think Wong might not be that bad. They don't.
Yeah, but then you're down like you're losing out on the power that Okoye would have gotten. And Okoye's biggest problem right now is that she takes so long to build up power that she can't bodyguard multiple times. Mm-hmm. And so if she's just got 4 power on turn 2, you're like, well, this is annoying.
Notably, if you do use something like R&D on a model that has 2 power at the start or some amount of power, if they end the activation within 2 of the model that plays this, they get 2 power back.
Mm-hmm. So that was the whole point.
Yeah, you are cycling.
Yeah,
power.
It's like Shuri. Yeah, Shuri gives it to you. Give the extra power from like I don't know, Killmonger to Shuri or M'Baku to Shuri, and then Shuri plays it. She doesn't need power, and then boom, everyone's got 2.
You could do some real crazy things if you had like 3 other models and three Wakandans and Lockjaw. Like you could put a lot of power out there on turn 1. Like you could put a bunch of power out there on turn 1. You advance R&D off Lockjaw.
Just for like volume of power.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
So like you advance.
I don't know what you'd be doing with it. But...
Right. Everybody would have like 4 power. It would be really weird. You're like, okay, what am I doing with all this? But it is something you could do.
Can you do a turn 1 follow me? I think that would be the whole thing, right? And then follow me into the.
You could immediately follow me off of Lockjaw, which would be cute. Yeah.
The old turn 1, grab 2 objectives. Got it. Did it.
This has...
Yeah, no, I feel like this is not worth the squeeze unless somebody finds some weird gimmick that you can do.
Mm-hmm. The first 2 effects just seem like fair, but the third effect is one. As soon as you read it, you're like, "Ooh, turn 0."
Yeah, this is not a card that you throw away, but this is definitely a card that I think is very niche.
Mm-hmm. I did the same thing you did, Brandon. Though the first 2 ones was like, "Okay, fine," and the third one I went, "Wait, what could I do on turn 0?" We got a third card though.
Oh yeah.
The third card is I want to know what you guys thought of this. I immediately read it and went, huh? Supersonic
Didn't
Annihilator.
You go? Oh.
I'm going to read everything except the one value that we all noticed.
Okay, yeah.
So it's an energy attack. It does 6 dice. After each attack is resolved, if the attack dealt damage, the target character gains stun. It's unaffiliated, but Claw has to spend 5 power to do it. You might ask, why would Claw want to spend 5 power to do this attack? Well, the range on this one is, finally, we're waiting for it for a while, but who is going to have this one? An Area 5 attack. It's Claw off his tactics card. Area 5.
Previously, there was only one other possible example of AoE 5, and that was in the Hulk Ultimate encounter.
Yeah. So this is the first regular model to have an Area 5. My first question for all of you is, I didn't know this because I was trying to imagine. Do you stun your own models if they're inside the Area 5?
No.
They just take a damage but no effects.
Correct. They're not attacked. They simply suffer damage for you attempting to target them.
Okay. Because you will damage your own models with this, I think, if you ever try to play it.
Have you ever stunned your entire army?
Yeah.
Your opponent's entire army?
Remember when you played Asgard and I used Shrapnel Blast?
Yeah. Like, this is gonna stun your opponent's entire army.
I think somebody's played Adorable with the Misfits card from Guardians and probably stunned their whole army before. That's probably happened.
Oh my god.
But is this worth the tactics slot and 5 power? Everybody? Is that
if you're going to take Claw, yeah, sure.
Now, if Claw's in your list, yes, you play this.
If you're drinking the juice.
Because AoE 5. So many attacks.
Well, it's 4 attacks, right? Or 5 attacks, maybe?
Dude, with grunts nowadays, you might get 6.
There you go. It's only 6 dice. You must do damage to get the stun, but it is 6 energy dice.
You're likely
I just want to know if
Baku.
So, Parker, what's the chance that Claw is going to be Wakanda affiliated?
Oh, non-zero. Like they've put enemies.
100%.
They've definitely put enemies in affiliations before.
Trying to recall, does he get enough power to play this regularly? I'm looking at his card now.
6 dice builder? Yeah. The problem is he already has a beam 5 for 5. So at this point, all you're doing is would I like an Area 5 or a beam 5? I pay the same amount for it. But I think you can absolutely get Claw's Spender off at least once a game, assuming that that's something you want to do. The problem is he's got great ways to spend his power elsewhere. But if you want to save it for the Spender, you can do it. I want to know from the rest of you, what are the degenerate ways you can come up with to make this either 6 dice rerolls or 8 dice on all the attacks?
Say, because he's only size 2, right?
Yes. Smash is probably bad. What else?
Yeah. I mean, if you're playing Claw, you're not trying to win, right? Like, that's a strong argument. Let's see.
Jabari Chieftain, if he's
Wakanda.
If he is Wakanda, and Jabari Chieftain would then give him, it would be 8 dice on all the attacks. So you could spend a total of 9 power for 2 cards to give you.
Oh God!
To give you 8 dice 4 times. That seems not good enough.
Yeah.
Like, that's the question. Like, what is worth multiple tactics cards?
It's all about game effects. It's all about what can you achieve. If with those simultaneous, if you can hit every one of your opponent's models, say you're activating with Prio and Claw just got dazed, M'Baku's got 4. Absolutely. Like, you could just be like, boom, I win. It's just like Doom Prophecy and Asgard. Would you play Doom Prophecy plus another card to like have Angela kill 3 people? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, trying to think of what other, not just Wakanda, but what other affiliations would be able to help that card out.
In Criminals, with Shadowlands Daredevil, they would get rerolls.
You're not using Claw's leadership?
But we're going to hamstring ourselves by not using leadership yet.
Remember, I already talked about how I think Shadowlands Daredevil and Claw actually work with versatile strategy. That was last episode. But no, if you're using Shadowlands Daredevil's leadership, that would be rerolls potentially on each one. So
he'll also be standing next to Zemo, right?
Mm-hmm. Ooh, there you go.
Ooh, there you go.
Or Strucker.
Or Strucker.
Hey!
Strucker gives out poison and incinerate.
They're barons. Look,
and he'd heal one. If he stunned anybody, he'd heal one. There you go.
Mm-hmm. and then he will still heal one.
And one of the attacks will be Mordo or Thanos. So.
You mean and Thanos?
I was going to say there will be 2 plus 2s.
Because Psychic Constructs only works on 1. Smash is one of the few that works on all.
Yeah, so he's got to smash a light post for a +1 on there.
So I think it comes down to, I think this is kind of like backwards. The whole point of the card is that an AoE 5 is efficient in its own right. And so if replacing an attack that would target, let's say, 1 or 2 people, and you're placing an attack that might target 4 people, isn't that worth a tactics card? If you said you could play 1 tactics card to generate 3 attacks, like, isn't that worth it?
It is. Yes. It's Rocket's card, right? Everybody loves Rocket's card.
It's kind of.
Like Deadly Duo costs 4 power on 2 different characters.
Right.
That's kind of hard to coordinate sometimes.
So like anything that's easy and efficient, like let's say we're doing criminals. Well, Zemo works fine in criminals, even though he's not like affiliated. So you just drop him next to Claw. That's easy. Maybe you're saying, well, we're playing criminals, so I'm playing demons, and so I'm trying to get everyone incinerated first automatically. That's cool. How about this? Is there anyone who does stuff when you daze enemies or like damage enemies?
There's like 4 VP in Black Order.
If you kill them,
but only for Black Order members. In
right, I think if
Red
you
Skull,
KO 4 members with a single attack, I think you just win the game.
Red Skull.
I don't think it matters what the victory points say.
Well, Red Skull, right? Red Skull Cabal. Wouldn't you get a power after every attack if he does damage?
That's true. And then so maybe you use the AoE 5 to fuel the Beam 5.
That's the thing.
I like that.
That would be cute.
Now, the one reason I don't love an AoE 5, well, multiple reasons. The first one being you're probably going to end up damaging your own team.
Well, almost assuredly, yeah.
Yeah. The second part is there are often times when you want to attack certain models but do not want to attack others, right? Because you're not going to kill them and all you're going to do is power them up.
Mm-hmm.
They're stunned afterwards, but yeah.
Right. But that may or may not be relevant, right? My point is I need to not give them the 3 power or whatever to enable them to do what they need to do, throw, bodyguard, whatever the case may be. And it's going to be it's really easy to avoid that with a beam, right? You choose where the beam goes. It's almost impossible with an AoE 5. Obviously not quite impossible, but it's a lot harder. So I foresee, just like Emma's leadership in Hellfire, there's 80% good and 20% bad that's happening when I trigger her leadership sometimes. It might be the same thing with the AoE 5. I want to attack these 3 models. I really don't want to attack that one, but I guess I will anyway.
Yeah, it would suck for a bunch of aggressive guys to just walk towards you because you
Hold on, hear me out. Let's say you take Sin, right? Sin gets power when you damage her with an allied effect.
Yep, so does Rhino.
Yep.
Her friend Crossbones can choose to take 0 damage from that effect.
I think you just broke the game.
Yeah, unbeatable stretch. I'm coming up with synergies here.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm at least trying to make this
gamer.
dumpster pile work. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I'm pretty much out of gas here.
And
he might even be a Cabal member. Like there's a shot. So he could be interesting maybe in Cabal with his card. I like the idea of him getting all of his power back. That's cute. Or at least some of it.
All right, so hear me out. You got Hulk. He gamma launches him, right?
Oh,
throws him right into the middle of the opponent's army. And then they start attacking. Like, I've taken 5 damage. Here it comes. He's like, Sonic Boom. And he's like, fucking hit everybody.
You don't have to.
It's like, why did I do that?
You don't have to take 5 damage. You might just get attacked once because he gets 1 power every time he's attacked if it's not Mystic.
Oh, that's true.
So, like, he could get 5 power to do this pretty quick.
And then they start coming into him, right? And then you're like, back up! And you just keep pushing them back, and you got this like huge amount of tempo because you gamma launch Claw into the middle of the army, and then you wait for them to damage him before you activate him, and then you get to heal when you activate him. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good.
Yep.
Sounds like the list I just ran.
The classic gamma launch Claw.
That old chestnut.
Yep.
Gamma launch Claw Sonic Resonator.
So I want to know Aaron's trash scale on this card. Like, I feel like this is
that's a large sized oof.
This is a really hard one. Yeah. So what does the trash scale show up on this one?
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay.
I think it's positive. Like this is not a rip it up and never look at it again card.
That's higher than I expected.
I think you will consider it in your 10, and it probably doesn't make your 10 after people test it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have Claw on your list, though, right?
Say what?
You would have to have Claw on your list, though.
That's why it's a 2, because we're already assuming that you're just playing casually.
You're just there for the cookies and donuts and coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know why you guys are hating on Claw so hard. I don't think he's actively a bad choice. Are you just saying he's actively a casual choice?
Well, that's why we disagree.
He is not Electra. He is not.
Whoa! How dare you utter that?
Whoa! You sounded confident.
He is not this bad. I don't understand. I do not understand why you guys.
You both have me very intrigued. So you joke about gamma launching him. However,
I wasn't joking.
Okay, great.
If I was to play Claw, that's what I would do.
You gamma launch him if you can
100%.
play him under Red Skull 1. you'll be able to Sonic Shockwave, probably multiple people. No matter the cost it, and you get the power back that you'll gain power off your spender to then fuel his reconstitute form to heal the no matter the cost damage you took. So as long as you're spending
assuming you damage 2 people, yes.
Yeah.
Parker, that sounds like you might spend 5 tactics cards turn 1. This sounds like something we could get into.
I know, right?
So hold on. Also, if he's just affiliated with Wakanda, he gets access to the thing that gives him extra power. So that brings that online sooner. He also gets access to the Jabari Chieftain, which lets him get the +2 dice on all of his stuff, which is actually kind of making me think that he's going to be, because that's an obvious strategy. And then also on top of that, you get access to M'Baku's leadership. So all of the wilds on those 8 dice attacks are also triggering additional hits. No, that's right. It's once per turn. That's true. Because MODOK's is once per turn as well, so that doesn't matter. So I guess criminals would be the best place to take advantage of it, but that's only with Shadowlands Daredevil. That is kind of cute that if you had Shadowlands Daredevil and your grunt wouldn't die to the shockwave, but their grunt would die to the shockwave more than likely. That'd be cute. Yeah, so I think I would still go with the Gamma Launch Plant. That just seems really interesting and useful. And if you're doing it with Red Skull 1, you can also Cosmic Invigorate him later in the turn and double activate him. And you don't care that he takes the damage because he heals himself anyway. And if he comes out affiliated with Cabal, you get to Dark Rain somebody and hit them with like a 6-die attack and then a 7-die beam with Pierce. That actually seems like it would be annoying as fuck. And if they try and come into you, they just keep getting pushed back.
Oh, hold on. Now we got to talk about, you mentioned Dark Rain. I said I want to figure out how to get rerolls. So he cannot be Cabal affiliated.
Why?
Oh my god. We're really going to Dark Rain that card?
It's only one person.
It's only one character.
Okay, you're right.
Did you think Dark Rain affected the board?
It's late, man. It's late.
Aaron, I need to know. You look me in the eyes.
No.
No wonder he thinks Malekith's overpowered. Yeah, I think it'd be a little bit of a spicy, like, casual, like, honestly, I'd be amazed if Nigel doesn't try it by the end of the month.
They have been saying that Claw is the 5-point cable.
You mean he's the cable of the 5-pointers?
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. I call him the Cyclops of 5-pointers. All right, do we have any other news?
No, that was it.
All right. That was a lot of news.
God,
we went on with that for a while. Mostly because Aaron fell asleep.
I'm not going to lie, I feel like it was mostly me just being excited for Wakanda to get a little bit wider.
You did seem oddly excited for someone who's never once played Wakanda.
I have played Wakanda many times. My very first game of MCP was Wakanda. It's the reason why I'm still playing it. I liked him a lot.
So what's the chance that the August release is Panther Killmonger?
What?
I think he actually come out.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
But... Of the ones shown in color at Adepticon, I think we're down to 2, right? It's Panther Killmonger and Ultron?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would like to see Ultron, and also Ultron has ties back to Wakanda, obviously. I could see it being Ultron and the Rivals box for a month.
I'm going to bet that it'll be 1, not both.
Yeah, I actually like the single box release cycle. I think it's a much more sustainable model. And I really think we are going to see double releases again, because we're going to have... There's a lot of mutants on the release schedule for only doing 1 box set a month. And so I could see, like, them doing Kitty, Bishop, what's his name? Iceman, and Nightcrawler. And, like, all 4 of them in a month. I could see that, too. Anyway, yeah, I think it's a good point.
So as excited as Parker is now, just wait.
Yeah, I can't imagine one of them won't have a leadership as well. So we might be looking at 3 leaderships, maybe even 4 leaderships in Wakanda by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And just, I mean, technically Claw isn't going to be a Wakanda leader, but he'll have a leadership. And so then you can count Storm and Claw as well. That's 6 leaderships inside Wakanda, even though you can only use 4 of them.
Okay, Parker, how many episodes do you want to bet that there will not be 4 Wakandan leaderships by the end of the year?
Ooh, that there will not be 4. So right now we're going to have 2. We know there's going to be 2. And so you need there to be 2 more. And the only other Wakandans that we know of for sure are
the Rivals box.
The Rivals box. And the bet is that comes in with 1 leadership and not 2.
Just not 2.
Or 0.
It could be 0. It could be 0, but I foresee it being more than 0.
I will bet how many. I want to bet lots of episodes of this.
Aaron, I feel like you're trying to set him up for failure here.
No, I'm doing it. All
right, that's great.
I do not think there's going to be more than 4. I don't think there's going to be 4. There might be 3. That's a long shot, actually. I think. So I would bet. I'm so confident. I would bet 400 episodes.
Holy shit!
There's going to be 3 or less leaderships by the end of the year.
Okay, so you're betting specifically less than 4.
Less than 4. We will not make 4.
So if there is 4, you lose.
Yep.
If there is not 3, you lose.
Are you betting there's exactly 3?
No, I would not. No, I would not bet that many on exactly 3. No, because Aaron said less. There wouldn't be 4, and that's what the bet I want to take.
I think he asked you
if
how
there's
many
5, you lose.
I don't think. I think he said less than 4.
When's the last time there was 2 leaderships released for an affiliation in 1 year?
It just happened in Criminals.
Year or month? Let's be more precise.
Yeah.
When did a leadership come out where your model simply wanders around with dementia? Just happened. Just fucking
I cannot wait. As soon as we make this bet, they're going to spoil Shuri. And it's going to be like, no!
Nope,
like,
January release. January release, motherfuckers!
This year, for Christmas, 2023, Shuri in Black Panther suit.
Nope, I bet it's going to be... Oh, do I... I do not want to bet there's going to be any leadership in that box. I just want to bet...
I don't know. I feel like there's only going to be 1. So I don't want to make this bet.
Okay.
But...
I only said it because you said I would not be surprised if there were 4 Wakandan leaders by the end of the year.
You did
say I would be surprised. I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay. So give him like 8-1 odds. Call it done.
Brandon's not about losing, okay? We're not going to We've made incredible
That'd be a
gains.
bad trend to start now.
Incredible gains. We are up, okay? This podcast is up. We're flush. We're flush in Dicktown money here.
You got all the Dicktown money.
Let's trying to think of what fair odds would be.
2,500 flush to be exact.
Parker, what do you think fair odds would be?
Oh God, you're talking to me about odds?
Yeah.
Fair odds. So 10-1 means I'm betting 400 and I can win 40, right? That's the idea.
No, that's not what that means.
Well, in this example, because you said you're betting 400, that would mean you would win 400, but you're wagering 4,000.
Oh, that's okay. Okay.
So it's whatever ratio you want it to be.
Okay, I got the ratio inverted. Okay.
No, well, it's fine. Like your example works. I don't know. It's the amount you want to win. So the odds tell you what you have to bet to win that amount. So normally in Vegas, it's to win 100 or like to bet 100 is generally the ratios they use. So like a plus 150 bet would mean that if you bet $100, you would win 150. Mm-hmm. So it's a 1.5 to 1. But
for something like this, you just need to go 50 bet 50 credits.
He said 50 a lot of times. I'm still not sure what's happening. If we wanted to do that, it'd be like we need like 50 coins.
50
and
credits.
We would flip them all, and it'd be like 50.
You either win or you lose 50 credits. That's it. Done.
That's a 1-to-1 bet.
Yeah, 1-to-1. He needs to quit fucking with you. You need to quit fucking with this child. He is but a child.
That's it. I'm not taking the bet.
God
We're
damn
out.
it.
I'm out on this. I don't like it. It doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like you're gonna come out on top.
Yeah, I'm not getting dicked hard enough. It smells like I might win.
This is not how you build a Dicktown empire.
Tried to help you out, Parker.
Thanks.
Oh my god.
Dude, they're gonna spoil Shuri tomorrow. I'm gonna be pissed.
There's gonna be 7 fucking leaders. It's gonna be like Criminals.
Dude,
they're just gonna
they released like 2 criminal leaders in a week.
Yeah. I think you could have taken the bet. I think it would have been okay.
I think there was a 30% chance I would have won.
So turn that into odds. What is that odds?
That would be like 3 or 4 to 1.
Okay, so do 4 to 1.
But I don't want to do that.
I'm betting. I'll bet 100, right? So that means I could win 400.
No, you'd have to bet like 1,000 to win 400.
Okay, sorry. 4 to 1 to win 400.
You have the
1,600.
A betting brain of a child.
1,600.
So
I got it right.
You want to bet.
You're never going to get out of this.
of your episodes against gaining 1,600 episodes.
Yeah.
That there will be 4 leaders by the end. There will not be 4 leaders by the end of the year.
Sure.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Let's get out of this tar pit that Aaron hit us with.
It was a great idea, Aaron.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that's going to take us into the next segment, which is going to be Jeremy has something he wants to talk to us about. Is it good to build versatile lists or one-dimensional lists, but be very good at your one dimension?
I don't know if we've done this before. Maybe you guys can check the annals and the memory. But Jeremy sent me a really interesting question today, and I never got to respond to him. This is what I was trying to tell you, Jeremy, way back when you were trying to fix your mic, which is I started 3 different times. I've composed like a paragraph and a half in my phone, and I never got to finish it to send it back to you. And there's a bunch of things. But he sent me a message. You're having a conversation with somebody from Muse. Is that what it was?
I was talking with Josh.
Right. And he made a position in the conversation, and Jeremy sent me an excerpt about this position, that flexibility is somehow weaker than becoming one-dimensional, right? Being more flexible is weaker than being better at one dimension. And I was going to, long story short, I was going to vehemently disagree. I think flexibility is really important to a degree, but I also think flexibility is kind of hard to define in this game, and it's one of the reasons why I also disagree about the statements that it's just, stat hammer, and it's just how many stats can we have. Because if it was just stats, then you could just make a list that was best stats, and then automatically win all your games, and that's not the case. You have to be flexible to specifically scenarios. So I don't know if there's a topic in that, or if we've already covered that topic, or if that's something we've always kind of just talked about. It's not really a topic by itself.
Jeremy, what was his specific situation he was giving? Was it with Midnight Sun specifically?
Yep.
Or
so my initial topic, or my comment to Josh was, we played a game and I liked what he was doing with his list, and did he have any more ideas? Because it seems to me that Midnight Suns could kind of do everything, and they were pretty fair in what they did, but they didn't do anything exceptionally well. And what was his thoughts? And he had a really nice comment on that was pretty lengthy, and I had sent that comment to Parker, and that's kind of what Parker was discussing. So that was basically what we were talking about. And my thought was that Midnight Suns essentially plays a pretty fair game. They have tools for everything. But my thought was, I was very used to and am usually much more successful. So the comment is, I like playing lists that ask the questions, whereas Midnight Suns answer questions better than ask questions.
You left off that part. That's fascinating.
Yes, that was really what the crux of it was, because I like the fact of, can you deal with my model deleting your models? Can you deal with how fast my models are? Can you deal with, whereas Midnight Suns are just kind of like, I tell you what, I'm going to be everywhere all at once. I have kind of a little bit of everything. I can activate whoever I want, whenever I want. What do you got?
I'm going to soft disagree with that.
Sure.
I think that iHulk gives Suns the possibility to ask some very hard questions.
iHulk is the question in the whole deal, but I pose this to Josh because he played a very strong game against me, and I liked his stance, and iHulk wasn't out yet. Sure. So I kind of wanted to see where he was with it now, and just to see if I wasn't missing something. So that's where we were, and I put Parker in the discussion because he usually likes these conversations, and I figure you would have something to say about it.
Oh yeah.
with nothing but time being that you don't work right now.
Yeah, I mean, he basically doesn't even have a job.
Today was a very bad day for it, but yes. Today was a great day for getting things done, but not a good day for...
And I did say that the exception to that statement was iHulk under Smash with the like, that's a whole different animal in itself, and it's important to know that that is its own thing. But with that aside, like, I you know, you can also play Suns without that, or even you can play iHulk, you know, and not use that specific tool again, because sometimes you don't need that. That doesn't have to actually happen in that way.
Sure, I would argue that it enhances their flexibility.
Yeah,
being able to answer or ask questions depending on the roster or the scenario, your opponent, et cetera, et cetera.
Because I mean, if you want to kill something, they're not the very best at killing things.
No, but they have high target opportunity because of their mobility.
See, so I don't even think they're the most mobile.
I mean, who's obviously more mobile than they are?
Malekith is better at mobility than they are, i.e. Cabal.
The whole list, or just one model?
His leadership.
Malekith with leadership and with Portal and Malekith, and I can go anywhere I want in a game with Cabal, anywhere. Whereas I can get put in a corner all the time. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
I would think actually Midnight Suns
is expensive.
Midnight Suns is not a maneuverable faction. I think Midnight Suns is actually, like, as an affiliation, or rather as a leadership, it's a enabling. So it enables a couple things to happen. Like, it enables medium and large bases to get a lot more mobility than they would have otherwise. That's when they become really strong. Or it enables things like Ghost Spider, right? Like, Gwen can do all of her big punches twice because she gets to place once. Like, there's a bunch of things in the game that get enabled because of that moment, you know, that movement. But I don't think that the characters in the affiliation are particularly mobile. They're not. And I don't think characters in the affiliation particularly even benefit from that affiliation ability. Some of them do more than others. But there are some great out of faction characters that would love that ability. But I think it's enabling them to have maneuverability at all because they have zero, and that's how they're balanced. They're balanced around the fact they don't have any.
Yeah, I always looked at it as you basically take a lot of premium models that are only missing mobility, and then you add a little bit of mobility to them, and it kind of fixes their problem. Right. But they're not the best fighters. They just have good stat lines with lots of utility.
I think they have lots of utility. I'll give you that. And especially if you end up putting Strange in there and start using that version. That version, I find, is the most, like, just looking at the table becomes kind of a real chessboard of it's your table to lose. And I think you can get about as big-brained as any list ever. Because you can fix things, you can add dice to things, which is almost always the worst idea. Don't add dice to your defense. But being able to heal and push, right? The heal and the push and use bats at the right time and all that is really super strong. And a range 4 energy attack is nothing to joke about. Like, that's pretty legit.
I actually think it's okay to add defense dice to the models in your affiliation that have bonuses to defense, like the martial artists or like the supernatural senses stuff. Yeah. It's like you're getting 6 mystic defense and then getting to reroll any number of them like that. Now you're blocking like 4 or 5, and like that's super worth it.
Yeah, I think with him, I agree. I think with Iron Fist, it's completely legit because he will most likely use it and be fine. I don't know with Blade. Blade, every time you punch Blade and give Blade power, rather even if he's on his backside, he will punish you for it. Like, I find dumping Blade, his power seems to be just the most precious commodity ever. He'll take it any way he can get it.
Yeah. He's terrifying with power.
He is. He's absolutely terrifying. But yeah, so I don't think they're the hardest hitting. I don't think they're the fastest. I'm just trying to figure out, and I guess my conversation was like, what is it? Why do you play them? Like, I'm not sure. Now, with Immortal Hulk, I'm like, okay, I know why I play him now. Because Immortal Hulk and that thing. And I just don't want to get myself caught up in that shtick of like, okay, this is it. Because is that really what it is? Like, they were designed for Immortal Hulk to be here and do that? I don't know.
Well, I don't think they're... I've always thought they were interesting. Let's like, what was it? probably 2 years ago, almost 2 years and 2 months exactly. Midnight Suns were actually really popular.
When they first came out, or at least a little bit after they first came out?
No, it was a while after. It was the first Adepticon back, basically. There was Midnight Suns in a lot of places, and I think Midnight Suns got to semifinals at Adepticon. Like, they did pretty well. But it was mostly just that, like, they were the attrition list that had the quality of life stuff, like bump and having, like, control effects. And they had a little bit more than, like, what met the eye, and they did a lot with that extra stuff. As where a lot of your models, like, you take them for a reason, and then they have extra stuff that really doesn't matter. But it feels like a lot of the Midnight Suns characters, that little bit of extra stuff they have goes a long way. Like Strange, for example, like, his control effects are so good. And then you just throw in the fact that you can heal, and a lot of your models are like 4 and 5 pointers, and so that 3-point heal is actually really good.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's funny that we were kind of talking about, like, flexibility versus, pushing a strength. And I feel like I was just kind of looking at all the affiliations, with a few exceptions, with, like, some of the, factions with enormous character pools and really strong leaders like Avengers. Midnight Suns is really flexible. Like, they really have the ability to play Midnight Suns plus a few others that like their ability. And just the ability to say, I'm going to spend 1 power to move myself. That by itself is flexible for so many situations, on scenario, on picking up extracts, on being within range of doing something like using a tactics card or activating an attack. Like, that is really flexible. Like, it's tactically flexible, list building flexibility. There's a lot of flexibility in that faction, just with its leadership. And then, of course, we add in some of the models, like the very different Immortal Hulk versus Doctor Strange, how they feel very different and do very different things. There's a lot of flexibility there.
That's actually what I was going to ask is, do you think we're talking about flexibility of list creation or flexibility of, like, tactics?
Dude, are you talking about me?
I think it has to be all of it.
Everyone.
Like,
because I feel like when a lot of people say, oh, it's a really flexible roster, I think a lot of people say it's, like, transformative is really what they mean. It's like, oh, well, all of a sudden this X-Men list can transform into Weapon X with the same roster and become very different on the field. And so I think that's what a lot of people, like, are referring to as, like, flexible as a roster.
Well, it was kind of interesting. So, like, one of the games I played against Aaron the other day, like, I looked at his roster and he had Ronan in it. And I was like, okay, well, he's going to try and eat Immortal Hulk, so I'm not going to take Immortal Hulk. So, like, if you have Ronan, you're definitely going to try and eat my 7-point model, whether it's, Malekith or Hulk or whatever. So I ended up going a little bit wider with just different models, and it was fine. So in that case, it was that's a version of flexible. Like, can you exist without Immortal Hulk and still play the game? Whereas without Malekith, there's a lot of games you can't even play it. Like, if you're designed to play a Malekith list with Cabal, it's very likely you can't play that Cabal. You might not be able to play your list without Malekith.
Yes. So that's a good example of you're not reliant upon your centerpiece model. Mm-hmm. And I would say that is definitely a form of, like, roster flexibility. But what the flexibility I see within them is kind of similar to the flexibility that Web Warriors have, is that they have a primary, like, goal to win with, but their models aren't, like, afraid to fight you, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, so, like, Web Warriors can quickly, switch tactics from control and run away to go all in on these 2 models all of a sudden. And I feel like Midnight Suns has a similar effect to that in the tactical flexibility of their goal is to fight people, but they can quickly switch to a heavy control variant with the same models on the board, the same models making your squads a lot of the time. Like, Iron Fist is an acceptable attrition piece, but he can do the control effect as well. Same with Doctor Strange, people like that. So that's how I see they're flexible, is that they can leverage a lot of different effects on your opponent with a lot of their pieces, not just, like, specific ones.
It's funny. In part of my paragraph that I sent you, Jeremy, in response to this
thesis,
I actually said I agreed with you said it was Josh?
Yeah.
I agreed with Josh that I feel like there's still, like, an A+, Because in point of fact, Brandon, I think Web Warriors do that idea better than Midnight Suns do. I think they're tactically more flexible because their turn of I'm just going to kill you is bigger than Midnight Suns, and their ability to consistently control the board and exert their will on the game is stronger than Midnight Suns. And that's why I feel like Midnight Suns, as good as they are and as flexible as they are, there are still other factions that do that better. Web Warriors, I think, is the faction that does it better.
Well, how about this?
I think it's the one faction that probably does it better.
Well, I think it's because Web Warriors are the inverse of what Midnight Suns are. Midnight Suns are trying generally to play attrition with very specific useful control parts, and Web Warriors are trying to play control with very specific useful attrition parts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's probably why they feel more dominant, is because they do the control aspect as their primary.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say they're both tactically flexible for that reason, though, is because they both have like that strong back pocket ace in the hole that they can always do a hard pivot in the middle of a situation if things aren't going their way.
And you've been really quiet. Have you been quiet because you don't have a lot of experience with Midnight Suns? You don't feel like you can comment, or
he does not agree. It does not have Logan.
He disagrees with everything we've said.
Yeah.
I have not played Midnight Suns more than a handful of games a year ago. So, I agree and disagree with everything that's being said. I don't necessarily think they're a pure attrition faction. I think you can play them scenario, not secure control base, but more extract shenanigans. I think they are the epitome of a flexibility in a faction or an affiliation because of their ability, kind of like what you guys are talking about, to play iHulk or not play iHulk. Great example with Malekith. Like, you're playing Malekith every time. Midnight Suns can go wide and have good options, or they can play tall and have good options there too. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts in a nutshell.
So do you think that's different than a list that has the ability to play Malekith but isn't exclusively there to play Malekith?
I do
like
not.
My Hydra list, I had the option to just play pure Hydra or to play Malekith Cabal. You think that's different than Midnight Suns?
Nope. So here's where I'll spend a few minutes talking now then, because every time people talk about mono affiliating or dual affiliating, I just want to throw up in my mouth because they're useless terms. And I've explained this before, but when I take a look at list building, you need to you're either going to ask a question, period, dot, or you're going to attempt to answer some questions, and you can do both. But the questions you answer are, can I play a wide scenario? What do I do when I get stuck on E's? And how do I play to flips? Right? Really, that last one's just for Kingpin. But you need to have an answer for every type of scenario that could come up. So whether you do that with two different affiliations or you have it in the same affiliation is completely irrelevant to me. I don't think it even makes sense to discuss it. You just need to have different options to deal with the different scenarios you could face.
Yeah. If you accomplish that with just doing it with the same affiliation or different affiliation is irrelevant.
Mostly irrelevant. If you can do it in the same affiliation, it will give you some added flexibility with your tactics cards, maybe with some of your splash characters. So there are benefits to being able to do it in one affiliation, but at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, because if one of your affiliations fixes one of your problems and one fixes another, and you get both of those situations in one game, now you're torn on which one you're going to use.
I mean, you could be.
Point. Yeah. I think as a whole, this is my personal opinion, but maybe it's because this is just the way I gravitate to play. This might be an opinion more than a fact, that I feel much stronger going into a game with my game plan and having my opponent try to stop that game plan than I do coming in. I'm going to make sure that my opponent does not get their game plan. Of course, you can't totally ignore your opponent or you expect to lose. But if my opponent should. I want to have the initiative, basically. I want my opponent reacting to me. I feel like that's always the best way to win. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's why I lose. Because I feel like every game that I've ever lost, it's because I was doing that. I was on the back foot trying to fend off my opponent and their attempts, and I never got to take my own steps to winning.
Your opponent had the priority and therefore had the tempo, so you were never able to shift the situation.
Right. I was never able to dictate terms. Right. I was never able to put them in a situation where they had a Sophie's choice. It never happened because I was just constantly the one making those terrible choices.
Immortal Hulk will make you make terrible choices.
He's already made one when you put him on the table.
But see, that's the thing is, like, I had somebody do something with Immortal Hulk once that should have been the game because I was playing Ghost Rider. So he was like, "Well, I need to just go shut down Ghost Rider." So he killed Ghost Rider on turn 3, like as quick as he could. Ghost Rider didn't get to activate until Deal with the Devil, and I still won because I had Deal with the Devil. So like my plan was, he's got to kill Ghost Rider. And even if he does, I have Deal with the Devil and a 2-point Rocket, and he's not going to be able to kill Rocket. Rocket's going to be able to do enough until he dies to make this worth it. And it was. And I won by not a great margin, but I won because of that. And that was the term he had to deal with, right? And he couldn't. He didn't. So I think that's the... Not to say that you have to have a counter like, that every single time you see Immortal Hulk, but that was a plan I had going into the game. I was ready for Immortal Hulk doing that. He had to answer my question, and the question was Deal with the Devil, and he couldn't.
Yeah, punching through Deal with the Devil is rarely a good idea.
Yeah, even though he did it on turn 3, and Ghost Rider never got to activate, it didn't matter. He still lost.
All right, so back to the original question here. The question was about is basically laser focusing on one strategy better than being versatile. I think in general in MCP, I think everyone would agree there's a magical line where you get to, this is the best amount of flexibility, and that's where you can cover all of the major strategies, you can cover all the types of scenarios, and you've got a couple different build options. For Midnight Suns specifically, I don't know where that is. I haven't had enough games with them. But Jeremy, is your opinion that they're better when they're flexible?
It always feels fine. I never feel like I set up and I don't have a shot. I always feel like the point totals are fine. The missions or the scenarios are always fine. They have enough power between the models to pick things up and interact with things if they need to. So I don't know. They feel good. I think the problem actually becomes they don't have enough models that just do that have throws attached to them and auto pushes and stuff. So they really lack in a bit of control. But what they lack in control, maybe they have a bit more attrition. So that could be the give and take of the whole situation that I have to get used to and accept it. I'm not sure. But they always tend to play, like I say, feel pretty fair, except for the whole Immortal Hulk thing. But in general, they basically go punch for punch with about everything, and I don't know.
Okay. I've always felt that they're kind of a group of hybrid type characters. They're always like Ghost Rider is a good example. Ghost Rider is this weird ball of attrition and control effects and support. I don't know. It's hard to put into words, but all their models are very complex for the most part. They always have a lot of stuff going on, and so because of that, I think they're naturally flexible. And so I'm building my list right now. I know our lists are fairly similar, but we have some obvious differences. I feel like you could build a lot of different Midnight Suns lists, and you could do a lot of different things. I don't think you're ever going to get to the point where you can actually triple down on a small group of models, really. In Cabal, for example, when you're playing Malekith, feels like a lot of your list is just every permutation of points that would work with Malekith, right? It's all about, here's my core 15, and then here's my 16-point list, and then here's my 18-point list, and here's my 20-point list. And you're all it is just nesting dolls of the Malekith archetype. And that does not feel at all like what happens in Midnight Suns.
No, it's
Midnight
not.
Suns is you're always just having a toolbox, right? Here's the guy I need in this situation. Here's the guy I need in this situation. And ideally, the points work out when they work out, but because you're not trying to jam Immortal Hulk isn't necessarily in every single list you're trying to play, it's not about making sure that the points always work out. It's more about making sure you have the right tools available.
Well, is it strange that, and I'm saying strange, Suns have 2 5-point models and 1 7-point model in affiliation? I mean, does everybody have to deal with that? Because they don't have a ton of models.
Well, on top of that, they have 1 4-point leader. And they have is it 2 other 4-pointers as well?
Doc
or
Voodoo,
is it just the one? I
just
thought there was another
one.
4. Okay. So we've got a 7, a 5 that can take a stone, a 5 that can't take a stone, a 2, 2 4s, and like 5 3s, I think.
Yeah, there's quite a few 3s.
Yeah, there's a good amount of 3s. But yeah, they're weird because like I just said, all their models are so like specific in what they do. They have such like unique kits. Like they're probably the biggest collection of unique characters in the whole game.
Yeah, and every time I pull them out, and I keep looking at different ones I think I want to put in and pull out, I keep thinking, wait, I just need to focus on these for the moment. Because right now, one of my builds is like, I can put 3 models that just have stealing effects on them. You know, I can just steal shit. Like, that's got to be good. You know, like, just stealing shit. So, I don't know. It's got to have some good stuff going on.
Yeah. What I've liked about them so far is it does feel much more like earlier MCP when you get to a table and it feels like you're actually building a list for the first time. And you're not just going, okay, well, here's my core 3. I add in these 2 models to make points. Let's go. Like, it doesn't feel like that right now. And maybe that's just because I'm new to the faction, but it definitely feels like that's kind of how they work. Like, I get a table, I'm like, wow, I could do Immortal Hulk. I can do Strange. I could put in Black Cat. Like, I could do Voodoo. And, like, because they have so many different tools at all these different point levels, it feels like they are just naturally versatile. And so if you're at the point where you've built your in Midnight Suns list and it's just, I'm playing these 4 models every freaking game, and then these other 5 models are just here to make sure I make points and for one specific matchup, like, I don't see that happening. That just seems very weird to me.
Yeah. I'm definitely not there yet. I don't see that yet.
So for Midnight Suns, I think they're incentivized to be more versatile than most affiliations because of their unique set of tools.
Which, I mean, it's crazy because they have an incredible, like, the leadership is pretty cool. I mean, really, being able to place yourself 1 is just kind of insane. But the reality is, imagine starting the game with no power. That's what you do. I mean, if you decide to place everybody, you don't have any power. You start down a power. That's really expensive.
Well, the interesting thing is, generally, when you're placing, though, it's because you're about to make an attack.
Yes,
is what I found.
Yes,
so
you have
you're
to
not
be
going to 0. Yeah. You're playing the game. You're gambling. You're rolling some dice.
You have to do it.
You're spending 1 power to do an attack functionally, and maybe also get in a better position. But
but there's a lot of gainer attacks.
Right,
not all models I play, but there are.
Right. Yeah, spending power to do an attack, but that's not necessarily a spender. You're actually. You could be gaining power on that transaction.
There's actually a lot of nuance to when to place and when not to place. Like, there's a ton of,
Giving Parker a shout out, I've played Black Dwarf in 2 games.
Yeah. Is it fun?
Just say no.
Yes and no.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Just fucking say no.
So Black Dwarf died on turn 3 of game 1.
Ooh.
That being said, he easily won the game for my team.
There you go.
So it's hard to say that was a failure.
He ate bricks.
He got to make multiple brutal end attacks and throw multiple size 4 things.
There you go.
And then he also got to taunt multiple Malekith attacks.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He went away very quickly.
Yikes.
But he went away, and not something maybe more important.
He burned hot like a dying star. Like it was
maybe like
good.
a black dwarf.
No, yeah, it was great. Yeah, my opponent played Ghost Rider and Malekith, and I can't remember what the other model was. He basically just played Smashy Boys, and I was like, "Oh, I got Black Dwarf. I'll be fine. He can't die." And I was like, "Oh God, he's dying. What am I going to do? Keep throwing the size 4s." Oh, it was MODOK. MODOK was the other one. So he just kept throwing Malekith into MODOK, which was pretty cute. He's just like, how do I deal with this? I can't attack anyone, and I keep getting thrown in my own people.
Black Dwarf.
Yeah, Black Dwarf. Used 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was so freaking mobile because he's like, okay, I place and now I'm in range of whoever I want. And so he gets to double attack while repositioning his taunt bubble is pretty fun. And you always have those times with people like Black Dwarf, you're like, oh, I'm just out of throw range of the size 4. And you're like, no, just bump in and throw it at him.
Yeah.
Or like they block your throw lane with the little guy and you're like, I bump around you, throw it at you. And you're like, oh. It's obviously like the best thing ever for Black Dwarf specifically.
Right. So I thought you said good and bad because I haven't heard any bad. I've only heard
he
rolling
died.
amounts of good.
He died
But
like
doesn't
a whore.
matter. But
He died like
so
really
what?
fast.
He gave that is how Black Dwarf lives his life. I think in every single version of him, he has died.
Mm-hmm. The second game, he was less notable. He was still a good 4-pointer, but like he didn't take any damage and killed like a 3-pointer. But it's like he didn't get to be the center of attention because everyone else was killing everybody. So he just kind of stood around.
So if we're talking about models that kill models, I have to ask Aaron one question.
Oh God.
Yes.
Did Logan find a kill limit?
No, he didn't.
Okay,
no
good.
Preset limit.
No preset kill limit. Okay, good. That motherfucker, dude. I haven't been mad in a game in a while, and that got me mad. Dude, he laser beamed me so fucking hard and like murdered my whole team in one activation, and it was just upsetting.
Yeah.
Sucks when top of 2 you're like, can we just fucking be done now?
Just imagine if you could still all you've got Enchantress and she could like line up your whole team into a beam and then you play Follow Me and Logan activates and you're like, no!
It's real bad. The unfun model of 2023, the award goes to Logan. No second place, no third place.
I don't think that's true at all, actually. I think I could name a whole list of people that's way less fun. I don't like Logan because he seems like the obvious autoplay model that I don't like. Like I don't know how you play that model wrong, other than just intentionally stand within range 3 of your own people, which is obvious.
Am I crazy? I'm not. Maybe I'm crazy.
If you're not having any problem with him, then you that's yeah.
Well, no. Well, I guess what I'm crazy is what I'm about to ask is him versus X-23 for 1 point less. I feel like they kill similar amounts of things.
They do not.
They do not. Cause is it the beam?
So that was the fastest he's ever answered.
Is it the beam spender? Is that?
No. That's it's literally it just comes down to X-23 can choke on 5-point models. Logan does not.
Again, why doesn't he choke on 5-point?
Because she'll just come up like 1 or 2 short, and because he's got the extra reroll and he gets power, he can do a throw. Like he does more damage than she does. It's not a lot more, but it is more.
Okay,
and that's all that matters. Because like, he gets 1 extra attack die plus a reroll, an extra reroll over her, and so like he can get to higher amounts, and he gets the throw.
He doesn't get an extra attack die. They have the same amount of attack dice.
His spender has 1 more.
Oh, sorry, his spender. Because it's a 7 dice.
So he can, in a specific situation, generate more damage. Mm-hmm. And so they'll both just tear ass through 3-pointers. But when you hit those tough models, X-23 can come up short sometimes. Mm-hmm. And that's why she's inconsistent. But Logan rarely will come up short on those models.
Range 3 builder, extra health, and more survivability don't hurt either.
The range 3 builder is pretty big. So you're not taking a tactics card to get him engaged on earlier turns.
When does he throw you? Because I remember being thrown by him.
It's a 3 cost active power. His next attack does a throw automatically up to size 3.
Fuck that guy.
Which is silly when you think about it. I never see anyone use it. I don't even know that people have read his card, honestly.
They do whatever they want. I mean, at this point, I'm like, just whatever.
Yeah.
Just attack through that group of guys, and then attack it yourself back through those group of guys.
This is not going to sound great for my experience versus Logan. The number of times I see people like a little bit is that I try and position for it, but it's not on me 100%. Like I'm like 10% of it. A lot of people just walk into range 3 of their own people and don't realize it. They're like, "Oh, that's a good distance," but like that's not 6 inches. Anyway, no, yeah, I just like playing against Logan. But it's mostly just because of Exceptional Alien. If Exceptional Alien didn't exist, he'd be fine. Because you could just kill him. Yeah. But it's just like old Black Cat. Like, you are just punished so much for trying that it's not worth it. You have to almost just wait for him to kill your models.
What's important to know is he has no kill limit.
There is no kill.
He will kill your entire army and then go kill it again. He loves it. It's the best of what he does.
All right. Well, I think that's actually going to wrap it up for us today. Because we actually had a pretty long pre-ramble. So this has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Jeremy.
And Aaron.
Wakanada? What? Wakanada.
I'm pretty sure it's Wakanita.
Oh, shit. So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous. All right. So we good? Do we need any more?
I just
get some more.
I just had one question, and this is.
Oh god damn it!
Not when is it okay? When is the statute of limitations, I guess, passed, and we can finally talk about the third Guardians movie on the cast?
Never. When the fourth Guardian movie comes out. How long has it been? It's been like 3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's probably safe, but I don't know if we want to open that can of worms right now.
No, not right now. I'm asking in general.
Well, how about this? Next week it will be safe.
Okay, deal. I'll be ready.
That's officially the time.
Guns will be loaded.
So anyone who's thinking about seeing Guardians and then listening to our podcast, do it in that order.
Mm-hmm. So you need to do two things before the next cast. Everyone needs to play Diablo and watch Guardians, and then we'll be ready to talk about those two things.
Is it this weekend?
Diablo's only if you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the pre-release, right? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So,
actual release is next Tuesday.
Never mind.
So I will be playing it before next cast.
I was gonna say by next cast we'll definitely yeah. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Let's get on it.
I want to know what some of my opponents had to say that you thought was spicy from the tournament last weekend.
Oh, you're a cheater.
Oh, okay. Great.
But that was expected.
Sure.
So.
Well, standard.
No, what did they say? Oh, Quentin said he's actually pretty good spirited about it. He's like, I don't know what the problem is, but eventually I'll get him. I was like, yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
He said you killed all his models very quickly, and he thought that perhaps if his models didn't die so fast, he could have won.
Honestly, I think it's honestly karma, because what I did today was edit Quentin's battle reports from our qualifier, and it's like a combined 30 minutes. Like,
yeah, not gonna lie,
so brutal.
I every time I hear that happens to him, I'm not mad. After the way he treated me at that tournament, good.
Like, get him, Aaron. It's great.
Yeah, our game was not very long.
Mm-hmm. All right, till next time.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Did you want to do a sign off, or are we skipping that?
We did.
The
We
Wakanada.
didn't. What? Really?
I know.
Yeah.
Did I miss it?
Didn't we?
It was a whimper,
did.
not a bang.
But
And
don't
you
remember
just
signing
listened
off?
to Parker makes a decent bet for once in his life.
That's definitely enough.
or something like that. Really? That was Wakanada. Wakanada was the entire sign off.
Yeah.
Man,
what do you want?
I got to get better at this podcasting shit. Apparently.
Well, so far, apparently, Jeremy's the only one that knows what's going on, which is actually terrifying.
That's bad.
It's pretty bad.
Okay.
It's because you're like a leader of men now.
Used to be.
You've led men into battle, and now they're like they're masters
Soldiers.
of combat.
Child soldiers.
Child soldiers. Don't say that part. Have you guys seen the viral video that's running around Facebook right now where this dad he's dressing his kid up for Halloween, and he's this really cool, well-detailed Predator suit from the first movie Predator. And so he's got like the arm claw that extends up. He's got like this little like toy laser cannon on his shoulder and everything. He's got the full mask with dreads. He's wearing like a full body suit. It looks almost perfect. And so he's like holding up the camera to his son. He's like, all right, tell him what your name is. He's like, I'm the Child Predator. He's
Oh
like,
my
God. We have to work on that name. We have to work on that name. Oh, it's so good. His dad just like shakes the head like, mm-mm.
Uh-oh.
The Child Predator.
I have to work on that name.
It goes very badly. Anyway, so maybe that should be the name of the podcast episode, The Child Predator.
Oh, Jesus. We'll definitely get a blue dot on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not
maybe
do
a red
that.
bar. We'll get a red bar.
Let's not name it anything like that, please.
All right. So anyway, goodbye.
Bye.
Come on.
Parker, do you have a comic corner?
I'm making one right now, actually. I just chose
Okay.
it. That's what I've been looking at while you guys were talking.
All right. So feuds. What did Muse say exactly?
Yeah.
I
was
want to know.
word for word that, I mean, you're a fucking idiot, Brandon.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it was, yeah. It was Parker's cool. Jeremy's cool. Aaron's cool. But Brandon's a fucking idiot. And then they
said something that wasn't true.
They laughed a lot about it. And then
okay.
they moved on. And then they went back to it. Then they laughed at basically all of us. And a little bit. But mostly they went back to you. And this is at the very beginning. You don't even got to listen to a lot of the podcast. Just listen to the episode. In their
defense, yeah. I do have some pretty radical ideas, like using Storm and X-Men. So
that's true.
Wait, now I actually think there's a legitimate leaderless X-Men build we can talk about in a little bit. I think he's like he went to the kitchen, threw a bunch of shitty ingredients together, made some sauce, and the shit actually works.
No. I love how hard you buried that lead with I think there's actually the next word could be Cyclops, but it wasn't. That was perfect. I really liked it.
No, you definitely don't play Cyclops.
I know Cyclops is a handicap. I get it, but I'm just saying. So I love that he didn't just say
just for First Class.
No, it's Headmistress.
Why don't you just play Hellfire Club? You're saying it's better than playing Hellfire Club
because
you don't get
available in X-Men.
Yeah, you can't.
I understand. I'm just saying, like you're saying that one tactics card is better than all of the Hellfire Club.
Possibly.
Okay.
We can go over like the list I ran at the recent tournament and why it worked, but it would absolutely work in X-Men under Emma.
Now,
because of Headmistress.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to win tournaments when all your opponents are DQ'd for cheating.
Now, does it actually? Why can't you do Storm and Emma? Is it just because you're in this case? I don't have the points to do that. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, because you already have Thanos and Logan, and that's 12. So
is this After Dark?
Already get
like
16.
Material? Like, do they have to paywall this? Are we giving this for free?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I have been told by many people that we should do our Patreon as the after credits, like because apparently that's the majority of what people listen to anyway.
I would doubt
it. that should be premium content.
Oh God. All I know is
I'm actually worried if we put a paywall for the after credits, we would have 0 listeners.
That's true. They would stop. We'd be like, "Listen, folks, it's only $1. Come on," and they'd just be like, "Not worth it. We're not doing it." But it would be the same reason I wouldn't do something for $0.25 because I'd have to get online and put my email address in with like a remote from like a PlayStation and do it letter by letter, and I just wouldn't do it. Like, nope. Nope.
I think every time you listen to
most importantly, Diablo 3 or Diablo 4 is about to come out.
I heard that. I don't know if it's true or not.
Aaron, was that your fingers crossed? Like you hope you're hoping it doesn't crash or something at the first sign of trouble?
No, that was me trying to still my beating heart in anticipation.
It's going to take you until next week. It's going to take you until next weekend to download it.
Hold on.
Oh, fuck you and the horse you rode in on if you say that again.
Whoa.
The thought that
Don't worry.
Aaron, if you could show me one day that you could actually lower your heart rate to 0 while crossing your fingers and like that's how you do it, I think that would be fucking awesome. Because every single time you're like, fingers crossed, and then you just like kind of like hang out there for a second. You're like, oh, what's going on with Aaron? Oh no, he's just bringing his heart rate down to 0. That's what he does when he crosses his fingers.
What if everyone who's actually ever had a heart attack just accidentally lowered their heart rate to 0?
While crossing their fingers. Oh, are his fingers? The ambulance shows up, uncrosses the fingers.
I wonder if you can just red box Diablo 4. I mean, that might be an option for you, Aaron. I'm just saying.
It might be
the listeners can't tell, but I'm glaring at you through the screen right now.
Have you considered just snail mailing a disc? Like just not like priority or anything, just like nice, slow, like 7-day mail. They'll probably be faster in downloading it.
I think you can buy it at Best Buy. I think they still sell games.
Yeah, they
do.
There's
a Best Buy? Where's the Best Buy?
I think
he lives in Warrensburg. That's like a 5-day drive.
There's one left in Alaska. Wait.
Yeah. It's right next to the last Blockbuster. It's there.
Yeah. Oh, you could rent it at Blockbuster. Holy shit.
Ooh, there you go.
What were we thinking? Aaron, don't listen to them. You can come over to my house and we can do a LAN party.
Hell yeah.
We'll have a good time.
Bring the whole, a giant monitor. Oh man.
I have my 31st Century discount card here, but I don't have my Black Blockbuster card.
Oh.
Speaking of Diablo and at your party, Brandon, I actually met somebody who is hardcore Diablo fan, and he's already
Is it Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan is ready. His sphincter is ready for Diablo, and
basically all of the MHA guys are going to be playing it.
Yeah, I am.
I mean, are they a male? Are they under the age of 75?
Yeah,
I think they're ready.
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
I did not know
that,
this.
Aaron, you're not going to be able to play.
Too old.
Parker, you haven't seen my computer setup, but behind what I'm staring at right now are two very large metal posters of Diablo.
Oh, I love it.
The shrine is
I'm
set.
excited.
Yeah, there is a shrine.
Ryan is actually one of those guys who's going like balls out. I did not know this, but in his golden WoW days, he was like server first, like level 50, level 60, level 70. Like he was one of those guys who rushed, he literally did not sleep for 82 hours or whatever it was until he forcibly, had to go to bed so that he could get to server first on stuff. I've always wanted to meet one of those people, and now I can say I have. I met him I met him before, but at your party we got to commiserate about it.
He's one of those Mom Meatloaf guys.
Yeah.
Mom,
yes.
Meatloaf.
Where's a Meatloaf? I don't know where she is.
I don't know where she is.
Where is she?
She's usually better.
Parker, you're very lucky that you were able to converse with him before he blacked out.
Yeah.
I just know that today is the review unveiling day.
Oh, really?
All the companies that got free review copies of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to write all their stuff up, but they couldn't post it until today. So all the reviews for Diablo 4 came out today. They are 2 thumbs up as an aggregate.
Out of like 10?
Yeah, out of how many thumbs? 2?
2.
Oh,
so depending on some sites use out of 5 rating, some use an out of 10. For the out of 10s, I've seen anywhere from 7.5 to 10, with the average being about a 9 to 9.5. Mm-hmm. Like the 7.5 was an anomaly. And
is this like the Game Informer years of where if you got below a 9.1, your game was basically unplayable trash?
I don't know. Take my stats for whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, I don't know how the ratings work anymore, because it used to be they were all just paid to, like, if you just sent them money, they'd give you a 9. And then, like, above that meant that your game was a little bit better than trash.
I think the days of, like, having to sell your ratings in order to, sell your magazine, I read that, they're hard. That is harder to do now because, websites like Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes exist. And these are all people who have I don't think they have a stake in their giving a good review or a bad review. Other than, they might get flamed. Breath of the Wild's a good example. Not Breath of the Wild. What's the newest one that just came out? The new Zelda game that just came out?
I don't know what it's called.
Tears of a Dragon. Princess.
Yeah, something.
I don't know.
It's
called
the
same. Mechs,
but my brother was telling me
that. A snake.
Yeah, my brother was telling me that everybody on Metacritic gave it fantastic reviews, except this one guy gave it like a 5.5, and he said unabashedly, he's like, I didn't really like Breath of the Wild. I don't really like these kind of games. I was hoping that this new one would do something different or offer something more or special, but it's not. It's just Breath of the Wild Part 2, and everyone who gave Breath of the Wild 9 or 10 is going to love this game. Congratulations, there's more game to play, literally set in the same world. But I didn't like those games, and apparently he just got flamed and destroyed. But the guy's like, I'm just going to keep writing these reviews because I don't like these kind of games, and these are the reasons why. He didn't just say I don't like them, everyone shouldn't like them. He said I don't like them, and here's the reasons why I think you could not like it.
I think there's something to be said for like rating it within its own category. Like if I had to play an open world RPG, this is a game I would like.
Right.
But, just saying, it's like, I don't like sports games. So I'm reviewing FIFA 2019, and you're like, yep, another stinker. And you're like, well, like, I don't know if that's really valuable information.
I think I didn't get to thumb over the entire thing. He just sent me a supercut of Reddit destroying it and like some of the experts from it. But but he did. It was a lot more cogent than I'm paraphrasing. He does review lots of games that are, fantasy RPGs, and he likes others for these reasons, and he didn't see that in Breath of the Wild nor this sequel, and so he's not as excited about it. But everybody on the internet just wants to say, poo-poo on you. You should give everything a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 if it's a major game or a sequel to a major game. And I guess that's my roundabout way of saying, I think in an era where people can dissent on the internet, and it's a little bit more and you can get a pretty big platform to do so. I don't know if you can automatically just assume everybody's going to be paid off to give it great reviews.
No, yeah. Well, that's what I was kind of saying earlier. So I feel like all of the places that were just, selling 9.0 ratings, basically just nobody buys their shit anymore because now there's like the freedom of information age is just like, who the fuck would ever read your information if it's fake?
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, it's so easy to get your opinion out there that why would they?
Mm-hmm.
When you spend $400 million to make a game now, they hedge their bets. Like, these motherfuckers are good games. Like, they're gonna sell. And the only thing that crashes and burns on like a AAA game now is, oh shit, we made it too complicated and the machines can't run it. What was the that sci-fi game that blew everybody's systems up?
Cyberpunk?
Yeah. And apparently now that everyone can run it, it's an amazing game, but it's too late. Like, they had their run, they had their shot. Like, nobody's like it's old news.
And they push their stuff out too fast. There's a huge pressure to go and get it out.
I feel like AE is still releasing plenty of content people hate.
Yeah, but that's AE. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, it's like
they don't give a fuck.
They're like the Nazis of video game producers.
Exactly.
I mean, Blizzard's had some things fall on their face recently, like Overwatch 2.
Immortal.
Yeah. Overwatch 2 is a recent game that nobody critically acclaimed it. I think it's still some players out there, but it didn't make a big splash you'd expect.
I heard it was just remade Overwatch. Like, it wasn't even a new game. It was just the same game.
Right. I think there's lots of criticisms of it, but the point is it's critically not reviewed highly, even though it's a Blizzard game. So,
Is that a free one?
No, you have to pay for it. It costs some money.
That's a shooter?
I thought if you had Overwatch 1, you got Overwatch 2.
I do not. Oh, I don't know about that. I have Overwatch 1, and I did not get Overwatch 2 for free. I did not try to buy it though, so maybe I could have. But
could you just be unaware of the fact that you have it?
I'm gonna check the internet.
It's just a shooter, right?
Yeah, it's an arena shooter.
It's the same
arena shooter.
Same game as
arena
same game as the first one.
Arena shooter, yeah.
Okay, I never played either. I just didn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's kind of like you have like a very special. Every class is a unique person. And so, like, one of the people is Bastion. He's a robot that can transform into a turret. And so, like, he's basically just a walk-around regular dude that just shoots an assault rifle. But then he can turn into a minigun turret. And then, like, he's stationary, but he's got a minigun. And then, like, another generic character is Soldier 76.
So I just found out Overwatch 2 is free, just free. You don't have to own Overwatch or anything like that. It is free, but it's kind of hard because apparently Blizzard isn't doing a very good job of making that real. Instead, they're talking a lot about their DLCs and stuff that you can do, and so that's the thing they advertise. And all those cost like $40 for their seasonal pass
like
or whatever.
Passes and
So
that's what I was thinking. I thought there was something free about it.
Exactly, but what's funny is that it's weird how. That's
it's
one
free,
of the
but we don't give you any batteries.
Right? Yeah.
You have to buy the batteries.
Right.
Well, from what I've heard, is the real like choke point of the game is that it's hard to unlock characters.
Yeah.
It's kind of like League of Legends. Like, you can unlock characters for free, but it takes a lot of time playing, and so that's why you buy the battle passes to get a bunch of like extra characters.
Mm-hmm.
But I was told by somebody that if you had the original game, you get all the original characters for free, and it's just the new ones that are harder to get. So you have to play like a ton to get the new characters.
Right.
So, Brandon, you said you had watched the first season of Bloodlines, right?
I believe so. I thought I made it through almost 2 seasons, but it's been a long time.
Oh. So I'm halfway through second season, and so I think I've figured out the formula. It's the equivalent of, I have a problem. My problem is something's on fire. I'm going to put that fire out using gasoline and bombs.
Yeah.
And then that becomes a problem. So then we use triple the amount of gasoline and bombs to put that fire.
It's the typical CW scripting, which is, I learned something I shouldn't know, so I'm going to keep it a secret, even though people I know need to know this information. But I'm just, for whatever dumbass reason, I'm not going to tell them. And then it's going to blow up in my face. They're going to find out that I know, and they're going to hate me for it. And then I'm going to learn my lesson and apologize. We'll make amends, and then immediately the same thing will happen again. I'll learn more information I wasn't supposed to know that someone who is dear to me needs to know, and I will have learned nothing despite all my statements that I have, and I'll choose to keep that a secret yet again. And then it's just an endless cycle.
Exponentially bad. Everybody's just exponentially bad. It's like just so like
now they do it way better than the CW does it, but
I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm enjoying it just because it's just so gnarly. It just keeps getting worse.
Yeah. So I come from a family where we have enough drama that I don't need family drama in my life from another source too.
You have enough drama that I don't need family drama. I need nothing at all, and I'm not even in your family.
Yeah. That was why I like Always Sunny. It's because, like, all right, well, this is actually, like, comical. Like it's fine. Let's see. I watched Trailer Park Boys. Did you guys ever see that?
Yeah.
I have not.
It's like the Canadian version of Always Sunny, kind of.
That one seems like it'd be a tiny bit too close to home to you.
Right. And so that was the problem with the show. Is like, I'd be like, okay. I'd be watching it. It's like, why isn't this funny? This should be funny, right? I'm just kind of, like, bored by it. And then I realized, like, oh, because there's no straight man in the scene to go, you guys are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And so it's like, because, like, I know people that act like this, it's not funny. It's because there's no one there to be upset about it. So the best season of Trailer Park Boys is when they have cameos of, like, actual celebrities in the season.
Uh-huh.
And so it's like Tom Arnold is there. And for the entire season, he lives in the trailer park with them for whatever reason. And he's always like, what the fuck are you guys doing? He's like, oh, we're making some homemade dynamite. It's like, why the fuck are you making homemade dynamite? He's like, no, it makes sense. We're going to go use it to fish. We're going to catch all these fish with the dynamite and sell them for weed money. He's like, that's not only not going to work, you're going to die. Stop what you're doing. He's like, oh man, really? We have to stop? He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? And like, then the show got a lot more fun.
Yeah. I always thought Shameless was a little up your alley too. I'm surprised you didn't get into that.
I've never seen it.
I mean, it's right up the alley of Always Sunny, but not as extreme.
I think it was one of the situations like it wasn't on whatever streaming services I had, so I just never found it easily.
It's available. A Showtime. Yeah, it was a Showtime one, and now I think that one's on Netflix.
Okay.
I did not like. I watched some Shameless, and I didn't appreciate that. I didn't think it was that funny. It was mostly just like how it's a little bit funny. Like the dad character is supposed to be kind of funny.
It's a better drama than it is comedy, but it is good comedy.
I guess I like Always Sunny because of how over the top and silly it is. Shameless all of it was this happens. Like these are people that exist, and that's one of the things I didn't appreciate it. Of course, a dramatized version of people that exist.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why I always say so funny, because like people that don't really exist.
Well, it's or rather like, they have
aspects of their characters exist in real life, but like no singular person could be like that.
Right, and all the things they go through without any like actual repercussions. Eventually, there's terrible repercussions of their bodies, but the next episode that's reset. There's that kind of stuff is the part that's pretty reset.
The actress that plays Dee is in I think it's called Champions. It was pretty good. With what's his name? It's actually a pretty new movie. Anyway, this basketball coach gets basically kicked off of his team and has to go and do community service, and he teaches like these handicapped guys at a community center to how to play basketball and like helps them out. And some of them have Down syndrome, some of them have different things, and he has to help them. And it's got some funny parts, but it's mostly one of those heart kind of stories. But Dee is the kind of the girlfriend / sister of one of the kids. It's pretty good. Run across it. You should check it out. Champions. What is that guy's name? So stupid. I'm really bad at names.
What else has he been in?
Zombieland.
Oh, fuck. What is his name?
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson?
Woody Harrelson. There you go.
Woody Harrelson.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about the young kid.
No, it's Woody Harrelson. He's the main character. I was just blanking on it.
Woody Harrelson's been in a lot of shit that I haven't realized he was in.
You know something, like every single time he talked in Cheers, I laughed. Like even as a child, I remember like any time his character, what is Woody, right? That was his character. It was his own name in Cheers. Like man, every time that character talked, because he would say like maybe 4 lines an episode. I think there was only maybe a couple episodes that like featured him as like one of the main story beats. Most of the time he was just a one-liner, and god damn was he fucking funny. God, that's super funny in that show.
So I got a story for you. I worked at the movie theater, and Cheers was either just ending or maybe, I don't know, reruns or whatever, but all the old people loved him. They thought he was the coolest guy ever, nicest guy ever. And the movie Natural Born Killers had come out, and I was working at the movie theaters. And all these old people were coming to see it. And they would come out and freak the fuck out after 5 minutes because their sweet, sweet Woody Harrelson was freaking out. And this was like, people didn't have like the internet at that time. They didn't realize what that movie really was about. They just knew it was rated R, and whatever, Tarantino wasn't really a crazy person that they or actually that wasn't Tarantino. That was
no.
Who was that? Anyway, it was a crazy, violent, psycho movie. So we had to put a discretionary note and tell people when they would come to that movie, you won't get your money back when you find out that Woody Harrelson is a killer in this movie, and it's like psychotic. And they would actually go, "Oh, we didn't know that." So for the first week, it was crazy. They'd come out super pissed off. Was that Oliver Stone that directed that?
Yep, Oliver Stone.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, and that was around the same time as Forrest Gump, so I remember that. Back in the day when I worked in the movie theater and had to give people their change and quarters, you had to count out change and give people tickets.
So we saw Guardians, right? And my daughter was really excited to see the new live action Little Mermaid, and my wife was like, "Where are we gonna go to see it?" I was like, "I got a theater," and so I bought the tickets correctly this time for the right day and time. And we showed up, and Sarah's like, "Are we still like at an electronic kiosk? You got to scan your phone or something?" I go, "Nope." We walked all the way up.
Nope.
She's like, "Are you getting popcorn?" I go, "Nope." And the guy like beeps my phone, and I get the tickets, and I just put them in my pocket immediately. She goes, "Do I need the tickets?" I go, "Nope." And we just walk over to the door,
know why
sit down.
I even pay for tickets.
You don't need. It's just a courtesy. It is
It's
that
courtesy.
is it. And she's like, "Do we need to sit in a certain seat?" I go, "Nope." Like I bought certain seats, but there's going to be 50 extra open, and there were. Nobody like came in.
Nope.
Like it really doesn't matter anything about that place. And it was a fantastic movie. There was like maybe 20 people in that giant theater. It was a beautiful, great screen. They had a great time. The girls loved it. But yeah, that theater is best kept secret in Kansas City. I'm not even going to say what the name of the theater because then everybody's going to go and it's going to ruin the magic.
True. Yeah, you don't want
I
to
doubt that.
Get out of my damn theater. This is mine.
Well, before it got remodeled and it was a shithole.
It was bad. Yeah.
It was bad. Like there was trash bags over like a quarter of the seats. Maybe that's exaggerating. Maybe 1 in 10.
Mm-hmm.
But like you would go in, like there was a lot of seats with trash bags over because the seat was broke or stained or gross
just
in general. Like,
doused down with
holes
semen.
in it. Yeah,
Yeah, it got shagged in. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like it was a gross theater. But like we walked in opening night of Force Awakens when there was lines around the building and they had been sold out for weeks at all the other theaters. We walked in and there was 3 other people in the theater. And we got to watch basically an IMAX showing of Force Awakens at 7 p.m. opening day. And nobody else was there.
Yeah.
And the other, like, it was so open that, like, we were just having a conversation. There was, like, 7 of us from the game store and then 3 other random dudes. And they turned around and was like, "Are you guys, like, Star Wars fans?" And we were like, "Oh, like a little bit." We were like talking about it and stuff. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, we've never seen Star Wars, but this was like the #1 movie, so that's what we decided to watch."
Yeah.
It's like, so we're watching this fucking movie that's been awaited for like 30 years by all these people, and like the people in the theater don't even care.
That movie theater is kind of like if I just put up like a big ass tarp in my backyard and like made a really nice home theater and just like let people wander in and out. Like that's the amount of people that would come. And like how much I would care about charging. That is the weirdest. It is the most amazing theater that you can go to. But which, by the way, not in the boonies, not like hidden away. It's been there since I was a
Suburbs,
teenager.
yeah.
It's
Yeah, I mean, it's
so
not
strange.
like buy anything big, but like it's just, small town Shawnee.
When did movies jump from like $12 to like $20 a ticket?
Like 15 years ago.
Yeah, it happened a while ago, I'm pretty sure.
I went from free movies. They were free for the longest time. You guys are all suckers. Like you say,
I mean, you described how, as you were a teenager, you sold people movie tickets. It seems unlikely.
They were free. I worked there.
Oh, okay.
I got a little conspiracy theory here. I'm just curious. Do you think, and this is 100% true because I'm not like an honest question, rather not true question, an honest question. If movie theaters just like overnight went like Blockbuster and people just decided, you know what, I can watch the movie theater in my house. Like I can stream it the day it comes out anywhere. It's digital and it's the internet. I can make it beautiful in 3D and enormous. So the movie theaters actually die out, which I don't think is we're any close to. But if it did, would the movie industry kind of implode like we're led to believe? Or do you think it would just continue on unabated?
It'd be unabated.
Okay.
I think it dies after the generation that used to all go to movie theaters when we were kids and stuff. I think it's dead after we're gone. I don't think like my kids give a shit. They go because I take them. Like
Well, I mean, they're kids, right? They can't go, but I think that they'll still exist. It'll just be a smaller demographic. Like AMC's will probably start drying up, but like the theater, B&B theater that we go to is like, I think about that size. Like it's not huge, but it's got like a bunch of screens and a lot of smaller settings. People like going to the theater. It's a better experience. And it's like, I mean, just for the dating aspect, like a lot of people go to movies on dates.
Yeah, but truly, it's the worst kind of date.
Yeah, I don't disagree
actually
with that.
Like,
but...
yeah, like, and I don't know, like.
But it's like a neutral setting. Like sometimes you don't want to just go to somebody's house for like the first or second date. Like that's kind of awkward sometimes.
Yeah, no, it is a neutral ground. It's just, it seems to me to be a huge waste of extra money for everybody. Like they have to package it, send it out to movie theaters. Movie theaters have to make their money back by people going and all that stuff. Whereas Netflix and all these guys that already put out all these streaming things, like it all has the quality and whatnot. I like most of my stuff is nostalgia. Like I really enjoy going to movies because it feels good from when I used to always go all the time.
And that explains your earlier statement of when the generation that has nostalgia is gone, there will be no nostalgia to draw on. Yeah.
Like I went to see E.T. with like my grandmother, like when I was like 5. So like I actually saw Return of the Jedi in the movie theater. So like stuff like that was very impactful for me. I grew up with that shit. Like Goonies, I saw Goonies when I was like a little kid.
Here's an interesting thing. Maybe it's just instead of a lot of people picture some things as permanent, right? Like they just like the hill is just upwards and then maybe it plateaus and it's there forever. And maybe this is just movie theaters are our bell curve. Like I know 2 generations previous to us, they had movie theaters, but they only saw like 2 movies their entire lives. Like my great grandma saw 2 movies her entire life.
Yeah.
And she was alive for tons of movies. She died in like 2004 or something, but she just didn't go see movies because they weren't part of her childhood. They weren't part of her upbringing. And so even though she absolutely had the ability, she only ever saw 2 movies in the movie theater. Yeah. And I wonder if that'll just go, it just went up and we were on top of that curve and it'll just go back down.
I mean, by that same justification, it's just like food. Like, traditional dishes are that for that exact reason. It's like, you ate it growing up, so you're going to eat it when you're older. It's like everyone who went to see movies, a lot of them have kids, and it's like they take their kids and they take their kids. I think it'll stick around. I don't think it's going to be completely disappear. It might become more of like an Alamo Drafthouse type experience.
God, I would
it's
love
more
that.
about the experience. Right, like there's theaters that cater towards, a more mature crowd and a more like, futuristic, but like,
it's an experience, like a dining experience.
Yeah. More modern crowd, I guess.
I do see that's already happened. Like most theaters now offer all kinds of experiences because they realize just sitting in the theater isn't probably enough to get the people in. Personally, actually, Jeremy's made it very clear how he feels. Me personally, I love the feeling of the movie theater. I love previews. I love the ritual of it. I cannot stand. We talked about this. I cannot stand people laughing while I'm watching a movie. Even if I'm laughing too, I hate it. It pulls me out of the movie. That's why the reasons I love this theater is because the number of people in it is so low. Even if somebody chuckles, I can't hear it because there's only 1 or 2 people in the room with me. And the room is so huge. Because I cannot stand when the environment takes over the movie and I'm out of the movie. So I struggle with that part of movie going. And every time somebody's like, "Oh, you could see this movie at home," I go, "I think I would like it more. I think I would appreciate it more if I actually got to experience it all at home." What about you, Brandon? Would you rather see a movie at home or would you rather see a movie in the theaters? Just straight up, just movie at home or movie in the theaters. You have your choice.
So if it's a movie I'm invested in, I'd rather see it in a theater. It's like, perfect example, like going to see Avengers at the theater was a fucking experience. Like, right, we had been waiting that movie for so long. Got to go with a bunch of friends. It was a huge experience. Like going to see Endgame. I went to go see Endgame like 3 times in theaters because it was so fun. Like looking back on it too, like I remember going to the drive-in as a kid and watching like Small Soldiers and like shit like that was always fun. But like if I'm just going to turn on a random Netflix movie, it's like no, I'm not invested enough to make it worth the ordeal.
What about you, Aaron? Do you have to see it in the theaters, or would you rather see it in the theaters? I guess that's the question.
It all depends. I go to the theater about once every 3 years, so for me it has to be something that is worth seeing on the big screen. For instance, your big action flicks like Top Gun, Endgame, stuff like that, Avatar. Like, there's a reason to see it on the big screen, then I'll go. Otherwise, I'm too much of a cheapskate. I'll just wait for it to come out. Although my biggest memory of movies, like reasons to go see in the theater, was when Star Wars, was it 1? I think it was when A New Hope came out in 2000-ish.
You mean Phantom Menace?
Sure.
Okay.
You're right, not A New Hope.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out. Anyway, we were in Paris at the time, and Yoda came on the screen, and the entire audience just like burst into clapping and whatnot. And you don't get that for a lot of movies, which makes them mostly useless to go see in a theater. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Lord of the Rings felt that way because I went to all 3 of those movies opening night, and opening night, midnight to 3 a.m. kind of seatings. And those, you're with some passionate motherfuckers when you go do that.
Yeah.
And,
dude, some of those, remember when you had to wait like fucking lines around the building to get into opening night?
Yeah. And went to those, and those had the same moments where certain things would happen. The Balrog appears and everyone's like, fuck yeah! And it was just so cool. Like, those moments are just kind of once in a, every so often ever happen. And that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Those are pretty neat.
And I can't stand that. I cannot stand when the crowd yells. And
I know we've gone through this before. Like the moment in Endgame when the portals opened, you weren't like, "Fuck yeah, let's go!" Like,
I will do it myself. Yes, I will exclaim myself. But I don't even want that to impact somebody else's. Like I remember one time I lost my shit in a theater, and I'll never forget it. It was when the Hulk. In Avengers 1, when Hulk grabs Loki, boom, 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 like I was expecting a speech, and he's cut off right in the middle of it, and he gets smacked around, like, puny God. Yeah. I was bouncing up and down in my chair like a 4-year-old, giggling loudly, like, I was so excited, and it just instantly hit me. It was like perfect moment. The beginning of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I looked at my wife and I was like, I can't believe it. And I started talking. Like, I was like, this is the perfect tone. Oh my God. But again, I don't like it because it wasn't nobody else was doing it except me. It wasn't like I was joining in. It just got me. And I know I probably pulled somebody else out of the movie with my thing. And I would have rather have done that. I feel like somebody else maybe would have really enjoyed that, but they turned around and looked at me because I was giggling like a crazy person.
Well, I think there's a difference between you show emotion and then you're like obnoxious about it. Like if you're like sitting there like hard clapping for like 10 seconds, you're like, okay, buddy, come on. Like you need to grow the fuck up.
Right.
But I think like when it's a truly natural reaction, like in the whole crowd has it, I think that enhances the experience.
Okay.
Now, if it's just one person like cackling in the back, then that's obviously, again, annoying.
Bitch, don't go up the stairs. You're like, oh, God,
yeah,
shut
like,
up.
Okay, we're leaving.
Shut the fuck up.
There you go. That kind of thing. Yeah.
All right.
Talking
I'm
to
gonna go
them.
to I'm gonna go to the bathroom, but I'll be right back.
What's the what's what is she doing? Is she giving you head? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. Would you please be quiet? If you just let us sit there, we could sit together and we wouldn't yell. Oh God.
You guys going to the tournament this weekend?
Yeah, I am. I actually want to talk about that for a second, but I gotta get this water.
Aaron, did your kids ever do sports?
Yes.
What did they do?
Perrin did soccer when he was younger.
Uh-huh.
We had him do it his freshman year in high school until we realized that he was being put with all the upperclassmen who were doing drugs, and we're like, you don't have to do it anymore. He didn't really want to. We forced him to do it.
Yeah.
And then my daughter has done dance and gymnastics ever since she was 3.
Oh, yeah. Because your wife is a dance teacher as well, right?
No, she's in charge of like communications for the dance studio. She's the assistant director for the studio. So
a tertiary job.
Well, it's definitely a full-time job, but she does everything but the teaching of the dancing. Like the running of the business, the emails, the social media, the backstage
she's not actually a dancer.
Coordinating. Correct.
Huh. Okay.
She's like one of 2 people on staff who aren't.
Interesting. Well, anyway, my boys had a game today, and it was just amazing that they finally had a real game where it was a complete, like, with youth baseball, it can quickly become a fill the bases and then someone hits it and then it becomes a 5-0 kind of game because of just the way it works. You'll tend to get these hitters that'll punch a ball, the kids will fumble, fuck it, and then all of a sudden everyone just runs in. It just becomes a clusterfuck and everybody runs in. So the first inning, the batter started hitting and they filled the bases, and one of my kids, Eli, managed to pitch his way out of it. He fills the bases, one kid scores, but we managed to get out. He gets the kids out, they caught a ball, flew. I was like, holy shit. Got the kids in. I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys, you played baseball. I was like, holy shit. So we get up, we fill the bases, like we're trying. We couldn't get anyone in. They got us out. They outpitched us. We get out there. Again, they fill the bases again. We're pitching. They're catching, doing all kinds of stuff. We get them out. Nothing happened. I'm like, God damn, guys, you played good defense. They did it for 3 innings. They only scored once on us. We scored 0. Dude, we fucking played baseball. Like, I was so proud of these little kids.
There you
go. They did so good. Yeah. Like, they have never played actual baseball. It's always been we've crushed them.
It's like home run derby. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, really, it was a pitching game of some hits and, like, fielding. Like, we actually got someone out on second, like, on the base, like, running. Like, it was actual baseball. That's the first time. Because, like, it's crazy. Because what'll happen is one kid will get a hit, and everyone will go apeshit crazy, and someone will throw a ball, and it'll go off, and then everyone just runs. That did not happen a single time. Everyone got stuck where they were at. No one moved. Like, even one kid punched one to the outfield, and they got it right back in and got him stuck on first. I was like, well, son of a bitch, guys. Wow.
So was this like first game due season, or is this?
This is the second game in their season. They've had 2 rainouts so far, so we've had a bunch of practices, but it was just really awesome. I had an amazing time today.
How old are your boys now?
The team is the ages of between 9 and 11. So 11 is very high, and 9 is very young.
I was gonna say, 10-year-olds can start to probably get that smart and physical.
This is the friendly league. So this is just this is the have fun league. Ooh. So on the age of, I don't know, between 7, 8, or 8, that's when you start doing traveling leagues with kids. So an 8-year-old on a traveling league would kick the shit out of these boys. Like, when they start to train and throw and hit and have some actual training, they'll kick the shit out of these kids. But for these kids, like, playing the way they do, dude, they did so good. It was really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
That is always so much more satisfying as an adult for them. Like, you're satisfied for them because you got to do it. Like, you got to feel the way a real game feels, as opposed to the blowouts. I feel the same way when I'm coaching volleyball, and because a lot of my guys are brand new to it. Never ever done it before. And every time you're like, oh my gosh, this was a 22-25 game, and you had a bunch of volleys, nice hard points. It wasn't just a bunch of people serving and then and no returns. That feels like you guys got to play it. Who cares who won or lost? Oh my god, what a great game.
Yeah, it was neat. Like I always like to think that I had opportunities when I was young to like have like special moments. Like Gabe was out there today and he filled the bases and he was having a rough go as pitcher, but nobody had scored on him yet. But man, he was pitching his ass off and it was taking forever and getting a bunch of balls when he should have got strikes. And it was like, man. So I walked out there when he filled the bases and I'm like, are you going to be all right? I mean, he had thrown a lot of balls and he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, you want to finish this or not? He's like, kind of. He's like, yeah, I guess so. And I'm like, you don't guess so. You're either going to finish this or you're not. What do you want to do? He's like, I'll finish it. I'm like, good, then finish it. Dude, he striked out the next two kids and we were done. I was like, there you fucking go.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, in my head, I was like, this is your opportunity, man. You get to do this for you. And if he fucking didn't, then so be it. But at least he got to do it himself. It's cool.
That is awesome.
But that was really cool. Be a proud parent doing that. That was cool. Or, crush some kid's ego and fucking he gets to write about me later in life in some fucking diary. I don't know. I don't know how
My dad told me this one day.
Exactly. My dad made me sit up there and I failed at this and now I fail at everything at life. So then whatever. I don't know, dude. It's hard.
Well, I'm surprised you put the kid's entire life on this one moment. That was really mean of you.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard.
All right. So real talk today. We got some news.
Yep.
Does anybody else think it's weird we haven't seen the cards for Ghost Rider yet?
We haven't seen
Tactics cards.
Oh, no, Tactics cards. Well, he's not coming out of... I thought... Is he coming out at the same time as M'Baku and...
Well, we got Ghost Rider's card first, then we got M'Baku, and then we got his Tactics cards. And we got Claw. Like, we have that whole box, and we haven't seen his cards yet. It just seemed odd to me.
But it was to be fair, it came from M'Baku, and the Tactics cards came from a stream. It wasn't one of their official release things. It was one of their streams.
Okay.
So usually those come a little bit out of order.
I usually don't worry about it. It's not out yet.
I'm not worried about it. I just thought it was odd.
Yeah.
All right, what do we want to talk about? Okay. So, anything else you guys have watched recently before we get to the podcast?
Nope.
I finished the Gang Goes to the Super Bowl 2-parter on Always Sunny. The Home Alone episode is amazing. Actually, the big game episode when Dee was Mr. Magooing around the stadium with conjunctivitis, like she's that terrible pink eye, and so she just the Mr. Magoo bit where she's just walking around, and every time they just let her through, or she like walks onto at one point she walks onto a forklift and lifts her up onto a stairs.
He's like, "Stop! You need a badge." He like puts a badge on her and pushes her through the door.
And then finally she uses a towel and they bring it out because Tom really needs to get the sweat out of his eye. Yeah.
And then he's like, it's like he can't see.
It's like he's having a hard time seeing. Oh, man.
It's great. I'm really hoping that we get to have a Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl episode now. I'm really hoping.
It's amazing. I thought the same thing after that episode. I was like, wait a minute. We could do that now. It's possible. We could have a Chiefs crossover. Yeah.
I really want there to be a Travis Kelce cameo as well because we have a Jason Kelce cameo.
I was going to say a Kelce cameo makes perfect sense.
We got both Kelce brothers and like the Always Sunny gang. Oh, it'd be amazing. I just want you guys to know I've given up on trying to get you to watch good shows because you clearly just don't care.
I tried to watch your show, but it wasn't any good.
It was too good for you.
Battlestar Galactica? Is that what it was?
Galactica?
What was it?
It's called Battlestar Galactica. It is officially rated about a 7 out of 10. That's what it says on JeremyCritic.com #.
Meanwhile, Survivor episode 497 gets a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
The guy ate a slug and then called his competitor a dipshit. Like,
dude, you don't even know the drama content involved. We need. I'm still upset about it. It's just amazing.
For what?
All of it. Every
Survivor?
episode better than the next. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So when every episode is actually better than the last. So like how many before it gets to like 1 out of 10? Is it like 300 episodes?
I'm not gonna fight with you about this.
Okay.
We're talking apples to oranges here.
Clearly, I've caught him, so we're gonna move on. Parker, I just want to give you a shout out. Good job for making this editing take 3 hours.
You know what?
Thank you. I'm going to leave in all the bits where Parker's just talking and he's like, I'm confused. What do we do here? I'm just going to leave that in.
Good.
But I'm going to cut out all the stuff and
magic.
move it to where it's supposed to be for us talking. So it'll just be a minute and a half of Parker going, I'm confused. What is happening? Like,
what?
It's going to be great.
What?
Why are you saying that?
I'm not even going to defend myself. This was very confusing to me. I was taken aback. I still am not entirely sure what's going to happen. I'm excited to listen to the cast to find out what actually it sounds like when it's done. I'm pumped.
The teacher has become the student.
Yeah.
Aaron, we missed you at the party.
I know you did. I am the life of the party, so I don't understand how you've had one without me.
I know, right? There wasn't any like totally ridiculous events that happened. Like I'm trying to think back.
But how late were you guys there? Like everybody there until
the last people left at 4
a.m.?
Yes.
Holy fuck, guys.
Yeah. I cleaned until about 5 when I passed out. Then I got up at 9:30 and cleaned some more and then went to work.
Huh.
So I had a big family get together and we did a bunch of stuff around Kansas City, like game battle rooms and escape rooms and breakthrough. I would not recommend the game battle. Just FYI.
Yeah, what is that?
It's not Jeopardy. Wheel of Fortune, Family Feud, Price is Right.
So you go on like game shows?
It's a big office building, a small office building with 2 big rooms that they have set up, and they have all like the lights and the wheels and stuff. So
you're basically going on a game show, but it's just you. It's
yeah,
not like on
you
TV.
and whoever else you bring with you. So, and we split up into 2 teams. It was a good time. I don't know how much she paid for it, but the people who did it were great, right? No issues with them. But I would much rather spend $20 for a game of Family Feud and play it in a living room, as opposed to the hundreds of dollars that it costs for 20 people to go out and play this and this.
Yeah, I could see that.
So.
Why was it because of the people that were playing on the teams, or you just think it cost too much?
Just a pure cost-based analysis, yeah.
Okay. I was like, because if you had the right people, I think that could be fun.
The actual experience was great. Like I would be very upset if I'd have paid for it. Like paid for everyone. Like again, I don't know what it costs. But if it's $20 a person, that's like $500. I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah.
So yeah, the experience was not bad. I would just question how much you're actually paying for it.
Yeah, I wonder because like I can't imagine it costs much more than an escape room. And I don't know how much those cost because I don't do that lame shit. But you know,
ooh,
I know. I'm just kidding. I figured somebody would get triggered. No, but that sounds cool. Like I think it'd be really funny to do like your own version of like Always Sunny goes on Family Feud.
My family does escape rooms, like Bert Kreischer talks about it, where everybody.
I know there's some crazy ones.
Oh, everybody gets so fucking mad at each other, and someone rips a shirt off. Someone rips a shirt off and is like, "Fuck you! I'm fucking leaving!" Like, oh man, I hate escape rooms. Like, it is the worst. No, thank you. I'm out.
I was listening to. Go ahead.
I said we did 2 of them after the game room stuff.
Yeah.
Our family likes them a lot.
Well, that's good.
Don't about you. Got it.
There's
That's
not
good.
even any fist fights.
That's great.
Or cigarette burns.
What the fuck are you lifting that fucking picture again for? You already looked there. I told you it's under the. Whatever. Just do whatever you're doing. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible.
I was listening to a talk show, and somebody was talking about how they did like a super high-end escape room. And there's a part of the escape room where you have to like lie down. They figure out that this like bench has like a pull-out like box space underneath. Like it's a hollow, and you can pull out this drawer that somebody can fit in. And only one person can fit in it. And you have to push it like more than closed and push them into another room. Then they have to get out of the box in that other room.
Yeah.
And find the clue. They figured this out. Like, they've assembled the information to this point. It's like, all right, who's going in? It's like, so I got chosen, right? And so I get in the box. They push me through, and it's completely black in the other room. Like the literally zero light whatsoever. You can't see your hand in front of your face. There's no light whatsoever. And so he's like feeling his way around this super creepy, silent black room. Like slowly, like there are knives in here. What's going on? And eventually, he finds a light switch and he turns it on, and it's a black light. And the walls are like smeared with blood, like serial killer, like basement, like horrible stuff. And there's this. The only thing in the room is this like storage locker. It's like a stand-up locker. And he goes to open it, and on the inside door of the locker, there's 30 Polaroids of all of these pictures of the people in his group with like X's drawn over their faces. And he's like, I'm done. Like, I'm out. Like, I'm so fucking done with this. He's like, get me the fuck out of here. He just starts screaming. He's like, I'm out. I'm done. So they had, like, when they registered, they got their full names. They went onto their social media accounts and printed fake Polaroids of their, like, Facebook photos and had put them in this other room while they were solving the other clues. And, like, he's like, they went so far beyond what we thought was going to happen. I was so terrified. I thought we were actually going to get murdered.
Nice. Yeah, some of those are really good. I mean, they're pretty cool. I just hate them.
Yeah, I don't know that it's my kind of thing. Like, that's a weird group activity. All right, we better get to it. I think we've done a lot of pre-ramble, and we still got to talk about my party.
Oh, God.
All right, here we go. How does Aaron expect to play Diablo when he can't even fucking Discord call people?
He's probably trying to download it now.
I doubt that.
If he starts now, maybe he'll have it by Saturday.
Oh, is he coming back?
He's frozen on my screen.
Well, on mine it shows loading. I thought he was reconnecting. I sent him a message. Oh, he's gone now. That probably means he's reconnecting.
I figured heuld get dropped.
Or
drop himself.
Yeah, that's probably what's happening. He's trying to fix it. All right, so anyway, the party was pretty fun. I think we had like 20 to 25 people came by.
There was a lot of people there.
I was surprised how many people showed up. We played a lot of rounds of Secret Hitler, which is also known as Scream the Game.
Yeah, everyone was very loud. My favorite was, oh my God. What's her face? Screaming, 9, 9, 9.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bobby's wife, Olga.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Oh my God. So she had never played the game before, but based on the title, she really wanted to play Secret Hitler. So we get in and we do the first round, and it's me, Olga, and I believe Connor are the fascists. And so I'm looking at her and I'm like, all right, we're good. Like, you were on a team, thumbs up, let's do this. And everybody opens their eyes, like, all right, we're playing. And I go first and I enact a liberal policy. And she just looks at me and goes, why'd you do that? I was just like, oh my God, like, this is going to be so hard. Every time I did anything to pretend to be a liberal to gain favor, she was like, I don't understand. Why are you acting like you're one of them? I was just like, but luckily everyone was so drunk and loud they couldn't hear what she was saying.
Yeah.
I started off the night 6-0 as Secret Hitler. It was fun.
I really liked Love Letter, Jeremy.
I told you.
Oh, you played Love Letter?
Yeah.
It's super fun.
Unfortunately, it's got a weird theme to it, so a lot of people don't try it.
Oh, yeah.
I can see how the theme would turn you off really fast.
Yeah, you don't pick it up and go, this looks like it'll be cool. No, you gotta see someone else do it.
Yeah, they've done a million spin-offs of it, too. Like, there's, like, Batman Love Letter and, like, Cthulhu Love Letter and all kinds of dumb shit.
There's, like, just enough luck to it to keep it, like, super fun, and it's just crunchy enough to try and follow it and try and be, like, clever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a really nice drinking game because, like you just said, it wasn't too big or fast that I felt like I was just losing because I couldn't follow it. But it also wasn't... I could be sneaky. I could be fun. It was really fun.
I wish I had gotten to play Red Dragon Inn.
Yeah, that one's pretty easy and fun, too.
It's easy and fun, but I've never gotten to play it as a drinking game, and I want to try it as a drinking game.
I've just played it like a family game night.
Yeah. I feel like it's more fun when you actually have to take drinks equal to your drinks.
That. No.
And then, like, the game gets off the rails pretty quick.
I can imagine.
And then we just need to get, like, when you get, like, dirty bar soap or something, like, you have to actually drink something gross. Like, whatever the fuck it was that Corey brought. He brought these, like, marshmallow Jack Daniel shots. That was fucking weird. I used to be. He's like, "Here you go. Here's yours." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." I just put it in the cabinet, and he wasn't looking. I'm like, that was great. Thanks. Well, that could have been an interesting topic, but we basically just did the whole thing in the pre-ramble. So,
darn it! I did it again. I closed the book in the pre-ramble. God damn it!
We do this every time. It's like, should we talk about this? And then you make an entire argument. I'm like, yeah, that would have been a good topic. We could have done that.
If there's no debate, then there's no debate. I guess that was the point. Is there a debate?
It's debatable.
Because I am in one position.
All right, hold on.
I also don't know if that's
hold on.
But I love this. This is great. Why are we still doing it here? Can we make this?
He paused it.
I'm fixing it.
He's fixing it.
Okay.
Now
damn it.
You're breaking it.
I'm breaking it?
Yes. You're breaking the illusion.
So I'm editing.
He's editing.
That's why I put in timestamps so I could move
everything.
That's
why he paused it.
God damn it. I didn't even notice that. Yeah. My bad.